Take it away.
All right, welcome back to the Ern's World Podcast. This is your boy DJ Ern1.
And this your boy Diff Hue.
And today we got a special guest in the building. We got my guy JxJury.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. So this is one of those, I don't know, he's a local artist in Portland. Pretty dope designer as well. Pretty multifaceted individual, but met him initially at the employee store out here just buying some gear. Met him via a mutual friend. As soon as we met each other, I was like, yeah, I already know who you are, bro. I'm cool with your little brother.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I feel like usually when you meet, I don't know, the older sibling, or if you met the younger sibling of the older sibling, usually the younger sibling is referred to as the brother of the older sibling. But in this case, I kind of flipped the script on him. And hit him with the other way around. But yeah, it's my guy JxJury.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Feel free to, I don't know,
Yeah,
introduce yourself to the people.
Man, thanks for having me, yo. I mean, that introduction was magnificent. I don't really know how to follow that, but pleasure.
But no, we appreciate you coming.
I've
through,
been
man.
watching the pod, man. Y'all been doing your thing.
I appreciate you, man. I've been trying to get y'all two to meet each other for a while,
Yeah,
just on some like producer rapper shit.
Yeah, you told me a lot about you.
100%. Yeah, I'm pumped, man. I'm stoked to be here.
I'm glad to have you, man.
Yeah, some brothers in Portland, boy. We out here.
Big facts, big facts.
Yeah, man. And like, how long have you been out here in Portland?
Long ass time.
How
Long
long?
time. I got here in summer 2008.
Yes, so you've been out here for a minute.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
about 5 years for me.
Over 10 years.
5 years. Yeah.
5 years. This year's 5 years.
Fire.
Same here.
Yeah,
It's fucking wild, dude.
2008, man. That's 15.
5 more years is
Yeah.
10 years. It's just wild to think that, like, will I be out here another 5 years? I don't know, but it's wild. Time
Yeah,
flies.
we'll see. I came out here for college, so I was.
Where'd
played
you go to school at?
Pacific University. It's like
Okay.
a smaller little D3,
Okay.
D3 joint. But I played ball there. I basically just wanted to come out here and play basketball, but in Oregon because I was trying to work at Nike when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So I just came out here and was like, that's what I'm gonna do, and I went out there and did it.
That makes sense. I feel like that's a lot. Like I said in the past, I feel like it's a lot of the reason why a lot of us end up here, either Nike, Adidas, Intel, or like any of the agencies out here that support any of those three brands.
Yeah, 100, man. Yeah, that's
And you said you're from Cali?
Yeah, he's from Cali, Southern Cali. He's from IE.
IE 909.
Inland Empire.
Shout out.
Yeah, so I
you
mean,
already
I guess
know.
that kind of leads me to my first
I
question.
got cousins
actually
in
had
San
for you.
Bernardino.
No word.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that's
bruh.
crazy.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
What part
yeah.
of IE are you actually from?
I grew up in Fontana, right by
Okay.
San Bernardino, right by
Yeah,
so that's where,
Rancho
like-
Cucamonga, like smack in the middle of that.
Hell yeah, man.
Isn't Hit Boy from there?
Hit Boys from there.
Okay.
For real?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Travis Barker
Yo,
from there.
My
We
first...
got talent from
Yeah,
there.
he has a song called like Fontana or Tony Fontana or something
Yeah,
like that.
bro. Yeah. Fontana really
That's off
got
of the $500,000, one of the early $500,000 projects with him and Dom Kennedy.
Yeah, we got a lot of talent in IE.
first experience of like what the desert was kind of like, the hot heat, was going to San Bernardino to see my cousins, bro. Like,
Yeah,
I always tell people this story because
it's different.
I never, like, from where we from, it's hot but it's humid. There's a difference between southern heat and like desert heat, and bro, like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
that
dry
shit
heat.
pushes down on you, and it was like 110, and like what happened was I was riding like a train or something,
Yep.
and like, so I was coming from LA, so LA is hot, but it ain't like that. So when I got on the train or bus, I wasn't traffic or what I was on, but when I got off that motherfucker, I was like, something ain't right. Like, something hit my whole sense. It just knocked my whole equilibrium off, bro. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then I really thought about it. I was like, oh, it's 110 degrees. I couldn't figure out what it was that was bothering me. I was like,
Bro,
it's
you
hot.
were inland.
Like,
you were literally inland. Like,
So,
it's
okay.
hotter, bro.
Then yeah, like I said, that kind of leads me to my first question for you. So like, you grew up in Southern Cali, right? Where it's just like super dry and hot all the time. No
Yeah.
rain.
Everybody
like,
got a
no real
pool.
rain. And then
Nah,
you
we
all of a
didn't
sudden
have a pool, just to
ended
clarify.
up-
I wish we
Oh,
did.
my bad. No,
we
I always assume everybody got
yeah.
pools out there. You need
Nah,
one.
then you
everybody
all-
want a pool.
And then you all of a sudden ended up in the Pacific Northwest for school. Like how did you, I don't know, maneuver through that
Man, that's a great question, bro. Because
change in the environment? Because that just seems like that would throw me into like a super culture shock. Like
I mean,
being from a super diverse part of the country,
that
like Southern California, and then having to go to like the complete opposite of that.
yeah. Well, that on culture shock is the only way you put it. I mean, we all, even when y'all moved here, being adults, culture shock is like major.
Yeah.
But as a kid, you know, I think Honestly, I think it's a little bit easier when you're younger because you're still figuring stuff out. You got to go to school, or at least I felt that I had to go to school. And I play ball, so like I had my basketball team at least around me. The athlete that was like my community.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a little bit easier in that sense. But I won't say it was easy though. It was hard. The culture shock was there. I went to a school that was a private school.
Okay.
The school was the same. It was a small school. And the school was it actually was about the same size as my high school. So to put it in perspective, like I'm coming from a place, moving to a college, and then I'm like, yo, the college is like the same size as my high school. It's crazy. And like you said,
how big was your high school?
Like 4,500, something like that.
That's still a pretty big graduating class.
Yeah. So when I came here, the culture shock was real, and not just because of the weather. Obviously, it's warmer. Where I'm from, rainy all the time here. I mean, that does come with its seasonal depression and whatever. You figure that out over time. It takes a while, but I think the bigger culture shock was literally the lack of culture of where I was at. Yeah. It was not diverse at all. It was. There was definitely less than 10 black kids when I started there.
Okay.
At least that I was aware of who were on campus and had been there. And to be real with you, if you weren't, an athlete
it's crazy to say that because I feel like I already know one of those black people.
If you weren't, yeah, I know. If you weren't an athlete or whatever, like think about, this little private school out in the sticks. Like there are a lot of people who are there who went to private high schools or went to, coming from small towns and stuff. So there was just people there that were just like completely opposite of me from a,
from just a
personality, background, exposure, all of that stuff. So being around that I think that too was really, really tough. And most people, if you talk to anybody who knew me in college, they probably would have, said that I fit in and I.
Okay. Yeah, would they have ever expected you to become a rapper? Or
yeah,
to rap
I was still,
in your...
Oh, 100%. I was rapping in high school.
Right.
Like and before that, like I've always done that. But like no one could tell that I was literally like, yo, this shit is crazy inside.
You remember your first rap? I know people ask that shit, but like,
oh god,
I don't remember my first rap, man.
I remember my first rap.
Shoot, I was there for some. A lot of your first raps.
Like I don't like. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can spit it by heart, but I'm just saying, like I remember the moment. I remember that. Like that's like a.
I remember some early bars, but I don't remember my first like at all. Like when I was in. I would say I grew up. I've always listened. Like my parents are big music heads, but they weren't like musically inclined folks. They didn't do music, but I was exposed to a lot of great funk and soul, and that was kind of the vinyls that my dad was spinning when I was growing up.
Okay,
and I started picking up rap very early, just as like. Actually, before rap, I've always wanted to perform music. Because I used to pretend I was Michael all the time. I had the shirt tucked in. Michael Jackson, yeah. I had the shirt tucked in. I had the glove. I had all that. I'm like 3, 4, watching the videos, the music videos, the performances, and emulating it, and like rewatching and trying to memorize his exact movements on stage, everything he's doing. Like I was trying to be Michael as a kid, man. So everyone knew as a kid that how much I just loved music. But then I started really getting into rap. I would say middle school is when I really, really started to get into it, but I don't remember the first things I wrote at all.
Well, I definitely want to get into that further because you mentioned that your parents are not necessarily music inclined. I'm not gonna say my parents aren't musically inclined. My mom was in band, but I think what I'm getting at is like the shit that got me into music, kind of to piggyback off what we're even talking about, like how I even got started into rapping. Yeah. Was kind of like a trickle down effect of certain things, and it seems like maybe that's kind of how it was for you. Like certain little doors opened up, and you discovered new things. I was like, oh, and that led to this, and then next thing you know, oh, now I'm liking this. You know what I'm saying? Because I never thought that I would be fucking writing music.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm curious to know how it landed in your lap. You know what I mean? Like,
man, that's a.
You know, because it's like you saying you're a producer and a writer. You know what I'm saying? How did all those things come into play at a young age? Since your family wasn't necessarily
for sure. I would say the thing that really pushed. So I'll start with this. I naturally just started memorizing raps from songs that I love and would just like, I would grab microphones and spit them and try to, you know, do them to the best of my abilities. And there were some songs that like, I remember one time there was a song that my dad, he had no idea I knew every word to the to the verse, and we were doing like a karaoke thing at my grandma's house. I think I was in like 6th grade, and I rapped the whole thing word for word, and he was just like, "Damn, like what? I didn't know that you knew it like that."
And the song that he put you on?
No, it was a song that this was like.
Wait, what song was it?
It was this is actually kind of funny because it wasn't even a rap song. It was like a Linkin Park song.
Really?
Yeah, Mike Shinoda was just like going off on a bar or a verse. Yeah. So I just like spit the whole verse that he did, and it was one of his verses that he was doing fast, and I can't remember exactly which one, but I do remember it was Linkin Park. But it was also around the time
super heavy back in the day.
I mean, everybody was, and there was also I think Get Rich or Die Trying was a big thing for me as a kid. I think that was
50 Cent's album.
50 Cent's album, Get Rich or Die Trying, was like
that's definitely one of those albums I could say changed my life.
It changed the trajectory of just how much I started to listen to
sucks,
rap.
Bro. I wasn't a G Unit kid. I didn't get
it's
that.
Okay.
Over.
It's okay. It's all right.
We forgive you.
But I just remember that time in my life was the time in my life where I started to really transition into rap heavier. And I'm not saying 50 is like my.
Because there was a time when 50 came out, like everybody, like it was at the time when 50 was that. My brain was not on that,
yeah.
and it was just like But I wish I could appreciate it.
I knew 50 was that guy when he had the suburban white kids wanting to like the G Unit,
right? It's crazy
tank tops and stuff. I was like, yo, what? Like, you listen to 50 Cent?
But like, see, it's not like he's my inspiration or anything. It's more. It was more just like that era was when I really started to get into rap myself and started writing things and this, that, and the third. So I would say that to answer your original question though, because my parents are not musically like inclined to do music, I actually was very lucky to have a cousin. And I had a cousin who was grew up in a church, choir singer, and not those choir singers who say they're choir singers but aren't actually fire singers. They just sing in a choir. He was fire.
Okay.
And he played every instrument, and he was like the only person in my family who like really did music. But he never lived with us growing up, and he moved from the East Coast to the IE.
Okay.
Around this era.
What part of
so that was really
what part of the East Coast was he from?
I think they were in North Carolina for a minute.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Okay. I think they were in North Carolina, and and
justice to the people.
They moved, and I mean, shoot, he's only a couple years older than me. But I think he was
what
maybe
part of North Carolina.
I couldn't tell you, dude. I was a kid. I was 11, 10 maybe when he moved, and maybe even 12 when we really got to lock in, which was around the time that Get Rich or Die Trying came out and all that stuff. But that era, I just remember that era and that time in my life. You know, he moved and he was living with my grandma, and we went to my grandma's house all the time. And he had a old ass computer that he was making songs with, and he had Fruity Loops.
Yo,
and I came in.
It all fucking ready, dog.
I came in one day. I'm like 12, 13.
I love these moments,
bro. And I see him, you know, making these songs, and I'm like, damn, bro, this shit sound like some Timbaland shit. Like, this is crazy. And he's a kid, he's a teenager making fire joints
He still make music?
Singing. He doesn't make music anymore.
Okay.
He's a photographer.
But still creative.
Yeah, his lady is he still will like dabble, but he's not putting anything out. He's not doing it regularly. But anyways, that moment for me was when I realized that you can make shit from your bedroom, bro.
That's what I'm doing.
I immediately was like, I want in on this shit, because I'm already rapping and doing stuff on the side. But like, that was the moment for me when I saw the shit he was cooking up. And I remember I came back like the next weekend or whatever later and saw more stuff that he was making. Was like, bro, how do I get this? You got it. And he gave me a crack version. So I got the crack.
I remember when,
hey, all of us producers know this.
It's just funny though, because like speaking of Fruity Loops,
that's literally my story
that's
too.
That's how everybody starts
No
when
cap,
The first
bruh.
version of Fruity Loops I ever had on my laptop, I never really used it, but I got it from you, Tevin. But it was just funny because like,
Well, that version, the version I get you is actually mine. I pay for that.
but I'm saying though, like, I
No,
got introduced to Fruity Loops.
I swear to God, my mom bought me that.
He's
copy,
saying this
though,
on the
for real.
podcast because he don't want to get written
Nah,
out,
but
bro.
I'm
He's
saying-
like, no, I own that license.
really
But I'm
do,
saying,
though.
but
I
I'm
really
saying
do.
though, like, I just got introduced to the application of Fruity Loops
my
in general through him. Like, I didn't know anything about it until he was just like, he came to school one day and was like, "Yo, my mom's about to get me Fruity Loops, bro." And I was like, "What the fuck is that, bro?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, bro, it's like a program to make beats and stuff." And then I came over to his house and he started showing me like how.
Yeah.
And that was that. That was my. He was my first introduction to that.
Bro.
Like, honestly, he was my
You
first
know
introduction
Southside's the
to.
producer?
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard his story?
What happened?
No, I don't know his story.
Everybody's story is on some crazy shit, but his story, he said that his fucking, and this is crazy. I don't know why he even told it. He told the story so many times, but he said that his cousin used to just steal shit, and he said his cousin would just always steal shit at the airport.
Yeah.
He said one day he came back with a laptop. And it had FL Studios on it, and he gave it to him, and it came with speakers and everything. He said that's how he didn't even know nothing about it.
He stole the producer's
and he just
laptop.
started. He said he just started making beats. That's how he got into this shit.
Bro. That's crazy.
Yo.
So it's just crazy because like most people's story with FL Studios is crack. Like my first version was a
Man,
crack version.
let's be
too.
real, bro. When you're a kid, and also like my parents weren't gonna go buy that shit.
I mean, my mom
Like,
did buy me that later on when she felt like my parents
but
were the type
like-
person, if they saw passion in me,
That's
they would invest. But that was
100,
later on.
100, and my parents would have too. But I was like, I didn't know anything about it. It's not like I was fiending for it, right? So I didn't know anything about
That
it.
part.
But he gave it. So he gave me that, and the rest was history, bro. Ever since I got that, I got it on my computer, and I just started making beats. And
Yeah,
then he
that's
switched. Like shortly after, he switched to Reason. And so I followed him,
I
and he
had
gave me
Reason too
Reason,
before.
and I started doing beats with Reason, and then that's when I learned, okay, I actually am not gonna be really nice at this if I don't know like if I can't play anything.
Oh,
So-
like music
What you
theory,
mean, like
basically?
Instruments,
Music
I
theory,
need to be
essentially?
able to play something.
That's
I
not
want to learn
necessarily
to
true.
play.
But that's how you felt.
That's how I felt as a
Oh.
kid. It's not
Okay.
true. No, I 100% know that. But I mean, this is a 14-year-old. I'm watching
Oh,
my
yeah,
cousin.
right,
I'm
right,
watching
right,
my
right.
cousin
Gotcha,
tear
gotcha.
this keyboard up
It's
and make all
definitely
this
not
shit.
true, but that shit definitely helps.
And he is literally making the most complicated like stacks and chords and all this stuff, and I was like, I need to get a keyboard. Like I'm just like I'm going off of what I'm exposed to, right?
No,
as
I
a
hear
kid.
that.
So I asked my dad. I'm like, yo, we had a Sam Ash by my house, and we went there. We bought them. I still got. I'll never get rid of it. It's an M Audio Axiom 49, and it's from like 2006 or something like that.
How many
And
keys does it have?
It was a 49.
Okay.
Yep, 49 key.
Shit still works like a charm.
It doesn't work like a charm, but it works.
that's-
But I don't
be the
use
ones.
it. I just keep it as
Oh,
a.
oh.
It's,
Yeah, like a
it's my
reminder.
My computer, bro,
It's
don't
like-
work like a charm, but
where
that
did-
bitch work.
Hey,
Exactly.
Diff, where did Tommy right? Can't forget where you came
Can't
from.
forget where
Forget
you came from. Bro.
fact.
Can't forget where you came from. I'm never getting rid of that thing. But that was the first keyboard, and I made beats on Reason with that, and then I started recording, vocals and all of that stuff in tandem with it. So it was that's kind of the catalyst that got me into it. Even though my parents weren't, I had thankfully, and I'll say this, I think we're all a product of what we're exposed to. Because if you don't know something exists, how are you gonna know to go for it, right?
Exactly.
If you're not exposed to it, I feel lucky that as a kid, I was exposed to things that actually have shaped my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And my cousin exposing me to that is the reason why I did that. So all of high school, I was the rapper. I obviously was the hooper. Everyone knew me as the ball player, but everyone also knew that I rapped.
You're one of the first people that actually kind of shared shared a story similar in the sense of like, because I think about that shit a lot as a musician, like, we clearly like music. You probably have always liked music your whole life, right? You know, but like, if, like I said, if someone's not around you to show you, it's just interesting how things happen because, like, I always liked music, but I never knew, bro, like the program, like just software and shit. No one.
Yeah.
It just, you couldn't fathom it.
No, not
you know
at
what I
all,
mean?
man.
Like
Not
it's
at
just
all.
like it's like unless somebody was around you.
Like how
around you,
could you? It's actually really complex. Like for
Facts.
us, it's easy, but it is a complicated like thing.
Yeah,
You talking music?
Just creating music in general. It's
yeah, like the
definitely.
approach for real. Cause like there's levels to it. Cause like don't get me wrong, you could have an acoustic guitar over there and pick it up and play some some melodies or whatever. But to really construct the song and to want to approach it, like. First off, you gotta not say be musically inclined, but it is a mindset thing. Cause like I said, before all this shit came about, I've always enjoyed it, and I guess it's like something in you. It's almost like a seed, but it ain't. It hasn't grown yet, but it was planted there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like I'm hip hop to the core, so anything hip hop related was gonna blossom sooner or later. But I may not have like known when it was gonna hit.
That resonated with me heavy right there. Yeah,
you know
it definitely. Yeah, it planted the seed, and then it was the rest was
Yeah, because like I don't rap, but like obviously I DJ.
Yeah, and that's
hip
hop,
me
bro.
Being
like
like being exposed to like I don't know. I just think of my dad's vinyl collection.
We know where DJ
that
started, yo.
Always, I don't know, just had access to, but didn't really have, I don't know, the leeway to like really play the music the way I wanted to in the crib. So my dad was like, "Yeah, you break a needle, you paying for that shit." Like I have multiple turntables.
You better not try to scratch my Luther, bro.
Exactly. He's like, yeah, I have multiple turntables in here and duplicates and stuff, but none of this shit is for mixing. It's just for.
I got duplicates, but you can't use it.
Right.
That's crazy. Like I just
bro. I think of the friends I had in college that were like into DJing and stuff. I mean, I just felt like it was just kind of like gonna naturally happen for me.
Exactly, and that just carried with me through from high school to college. Man, I was in my dorm. I had basically turned my dorm into recording studio. Like my desk at my dorm was where I recorded. I would have people come over and lay stuff down, and then like by that point, I was like further along where I'm like, okay, I got cracked everything. I got my Pro Tools. I got like a whole Waves bundle, Isotope, Ozone, all my plugins, everything I needed. I was like doing it. Still at an amateur level. Like I wasn't. This is all stuff I'm just learning on the go, right? And
figuring it out.
But everybody knew me as the artist, and that's when also this was the one thing that really helped with the transition moving to Oregon. I had a lot of friends from Hawaii actually that moved out. That came here to this school specifically, and they could relate to me in terms of moving from a warm place and coming to a place where no one looks like you, no one gets you.
Also, not even that, just at the basic level, you guys just aren't from here, so it's like y'all have that.
Plus all those other layers, right?
Yeah, like,
and thankfully they did a lot of music. They would do jam sessions. They would play
the homie
music.
that was playing the guitar for you during.
Yeah, we went to college.
He's from Hawaii.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yep, I got a lot of my old band was half from Hawaii, and you know,
you ever been to Hawaii?
Have I been?
Yeah.
I've been a couple times. It's beautiful. Beautiful. I have friends at every island, and it's like, it's just cool that I had that opportunity because honestly, I would say my passion for music blossomed even further once I met them because growing up, I wasn't exposed to sitting in a circle, everybody playing a different instrument and us freestyling and creating songs on the spot. Like I didn't do that. I would rap and do stuff on my own, and then I started making beats and stuff, right? But I wasn't exposed to the jam sessions and all of that. That was this like stuff that musicians do, and I at the time, even though I was learning, I wasn't really a musician yet. I mean, we're all can be, but I wasn't there yet.
It's so funny you said
so
that.
It was the exposure. It was the exposure, bro. It changed everything for me. Because then I started. That's when I was like, I already knew going in that I was gonna minor in music, but they pushed me to then get good at it because they played keys, they played guitar, they played the uke, and they were just playing all this shit. And then I would be the guy who would rap. But I was like, fuck, bro, I want to play too. So brought my keys, started learning, or I brought, I got a guitar from them. They teach me, and I just picked it up. And then,
So you can play guitar as well?
I can. I'm not a shredder at all. Bro. I'm not a shredder at all. I can play, but I'm not like the guy who's gonna go hit the crazy solo.
I commend you for at least being able to, because like I've tried to pick it up and it's not easy.
Yeah, I can play enough to make music, and I can play enough to perform music. But I'm not a lead guitarist by any means. I'm more of like a rhythm guitarist, and then I'll play like some licks and stuff from my beats and all that. Like I can play, but I'm definitely like it's just funny because I mean, the fact that you say you can play means you can play. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I can play. Yeah, because like I can't play, bro. So I was like, you better than me.
You can put a guitar in front of me. I couldn't tell you if I'm holding it the right way.
Well, that don't even matter.
Like, yo, nah, it does matter.
No, it don't, because a lot of guitars had it like played backwards.
Yeah, but they had to figure that shit out.
Jimmy Hendrix played backwards, didn't he?
Jimmy could do it all.
Yeah, but he played backwards because
he was showing off.
He was also left-handed, and like his guitar teachers.
I'm left-handed too.
Most instruments are meant for like right-handed people.
So,
A lot of
but
stuff
do they
in
have
life is made
guitars
for
that are
right-handed
like
people. So it's like
dual? Am I tripping? I don't know.
Yeah. You said most instruments.
most instruments are made for like right-handed people.
Well, okay.
Most stuff in the world is made for right-handed people.
That much is true.
That's true.
What about a flute?
A flute, I mean, that's
not
laid
even a
out.
flute, like a piccolo.
How do you hold a piccolo?
A piccolo is a small flute.
Well, how
the,
about
the fingerings are basically the same. It's just
how
on a smaller
about-
scale.
I'm trying to stump you on this. Harmonica.
That's the same thing as like a piano. You're just blowing into it.
Right.
Played out the same way.
It doesn't really matter
Piano too.
you hold it, though.
How is it right hand? Is that a right handed?
Piano, I would say,
Dominant.
is probably ambidextrous.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. But you're right. Most things in the world for sure cater to right handed people.
yeah.
Um,
So it's like, I mean, he was left-handed, so it's like to find a guitar teacher to like teach you how to play everything essentially in reverse.
it is
kinda.
hard learning
It's
stuff
like,
in reverse. yo.
yeah, like
it is hard.
I gotta teach you how to play this in reverse, basically, because like usually your left hand is doing what your right hand is doing, but in this case, your right hand is doing what your left hand is doing.
But you know, people like him, I know people like him who are just musically like geniuses, and they just get it. I know folks who can't read music, couldn't tell you shit about what key things are in,
Oh, bro,
and they just rip.
I used
Like,
to.
they just
Dude, the
rip. They
Alchemist,
just
man,
know.
like back to what we talking about. We talking about like the whole skill set thing and being inclined. Like the Alchemist said in not too long ago that like he doesn't know how to read music or anything. He doesn't really know anything. He just goes off what his vibes is.
And that's the thing, bro. Like,
It's funny you said
at the
that,
end of the
though.
day, when it comes to making music, bro, none of that shit matters. The feeling matters.
Right.
I'm gonna say this though. That is to a certain extent because I was in band personally, and I didn't apply with none of the note. I didn't like keep none of the knowledge necessarily. But if you know notes,
Yeah.
you're better off as a producer because you'll be a really great
100%.
composer.
100%.
And I feel like composing and producing is they go together, but they're a little different because like when you're composing something, you are actually knowing what you're putting down. Like I can get on a MIDI keyboard and do some dope melodies, and I know that should sound dope and go off the ear. Cool, but I don't know the notes I'm playing. So to be able to know the notes and lay it down, because then you can bring other people involved and communicate
That's key right there.
and that's the part that sucks.
Because it's like, for example, it's like if you're playing something like, say, E minor, it's like, yo, this whole key is in E minor. Like,
Yep.
don't be over here playing in B major.
See, I don't know none of that
Yeah.
shit.
Well, here's the thing. I think that can be learned.
Yeah.
True.
Right?
Very true.
And I think that if you over rev on that, there's still one key ingredient that separates people from being a good or being great, or even just getting to good, and that is understanding feeling.
So I was gonna say soul.
Soul, 100%.
Yeah.
You just gotta have that it factor and that and know what sounds hot.
That is true.
Like you just said, you're like, I don't know what notes I'm playing, but I know it sounds good.
Sounds good.
And that's the thing. Like, you got a lot of folks out there who want to make this music. There's people out there who are classically trained, can like do all these things, and that's why I made the choir singer reference earlier, because I know people like this who they're like, oh yeah, I sing in choir. I'm like, that doesn't mean that you're
Like, but
gonna
do you really sing?
that you're gonna do what I'm hoping
You're gonna
or
do.
what I need for this song. Like classically trained or not, you gotta have that feeling. You just gotta know, and that's the thing you can't learn. That's just God given. And eventually, I'll take this back. You can learn it, but it definitely takes a lot of time. You got to really be in it and surround yourself by it to pick up on the feeling. And then there's people who just naturally have that feeling and just know it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not something you can just like go to you can't go to a school and learn that.
True.
Nah.
Like when it comes to him, like I trust his ear, and like I feel like when he doesn't produce, right, but he knows when something is a bop. And I can go off his ear. It's like he's the type of motherfucker you want in the studio. He's a tastemaker. Like he may not be laying shit down on the keyboard, but he knows like, yo, that do it like this. There's producers that do that. There's people that be in studios that do that. Like executive producers do that shit all the time. Like a lot of people, think that it's always playing instruments, but it isn't always playing instruments. Arranging a song can be knowing the feeling, the tone you want to go in, the direction. And a lot of that isn't with like knowing keys and shit. It's just knowing the feeling, knowing the vibes, and just knowing like, yo, this is gonna go. Like,
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes that person. Just like I recorded it earlier today, and it's having other people's input. Like I already had my idea set on what I wanted on the song in my head because I produced the shit. But then when other people got involved and was giving me input, it made a lot of sense. I'm like, oh, you know what? Like, you're right. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you saying makes total sense. You know what I mean?
100.
So,
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
I think the man, this is.
So it's just good to have people. It's just good to have people that like see things from a different perspective and don't necessarily always come from a analytical standpoint. And you can even take this away from like music. Like I have friends that went to school in art school, right? Like so they went to school and went to like they learned shit about art, right? But then I have friends that didn't go to college in art, study art at all, and they're like way more talented creatively than the friends. And then we always get into these arguments.
That's my point.
You know what I'm saying? Right? It's like, okay, so you went to school, but it's like
you either got it or you don't. You either got it or you don't. It's that simple. And when it comes to creativity, you got it or you don't. Like there's that it factor that just separate. Like the greatest artists, regardless of the craft, are the ones that have both the art and the science to the fullest, and they just have the it factor, and they're classically trained, and they know, above in their industry excellence, and they have the it factor. That's just like every GOAT in any genre is both of those things. There's no one who is regarded as a GOAT who is just the the science part of it only. Nobody.
No, that's.
I mean, you can get far doing that for sure, but you're not regarded as the best.
Some people be getting far as hell just off the science.
Well,
you can get far.
There's levels to it.
There is levels to it. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Your favorite artists
is good at both.
You could be an executive producing GOAT and never lay a single finger on a button.
But your craft is not putting fingers on a button. Your craft is executive producing.
Yeah, your craft is producing the end
product.
Right.
So you got to, as an executive producer, you do have to know who you need to pull in to hit that button.
True.
And that is there's a science to that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's definitely both of those things that define the GOATs.
I would agree with that.
I don't know. It just kind of gets on my nerves though sometimes. Obviously, I worked in marketing, so it's like just hearing the people that always like, yo, like what do the numbers say? Like,
hold on,
I'm like, yo, like, yes, I understand that the numbers, and the science,
they matter.
The science matters, but sometimes it's like you can't always rely on that.
I was about to say, I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm gonna piggyback off exactly what you just said. What about when you're trying to shift the culture and do something different? Sometimes, because I give a perfect example. There's shit where I listen to an artist that I don't like, and then they grow on me. Clearly, it's probably me, because clearly they was already ahead and I wasn't there yet. So sometimes you might be onto something that no one is able to really scope out, and it's so new that it's like, damn. Exactly. So
there's no numerical data to even back what we're even trying to do.
100%.
So it's like that's usually where I always fall into issues in like the professional space, where it's like, damn, I'm trying to always do some shit that's never been done before, and there's like no numerical data to back.
And sometimes there might not be sometimes there might not be no like as far as the skill set, it may not be something that you can easily. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like I just feel like if you're on to something new, sometimes you're making the rules as you go. So it's
definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do that a lot, and for sure.
You're stepping into the unknown.
You're stepping into the unknown, and that is also what makes most of the greats. They were groundbreaking to some degree to get them to that.
Sometimes they made shit by mistake.
They're 100%. They're just those artists, right, who came through and, like you said, gave you something that you never expected to hear, and you didn't even know what to do with it. You know what I mean? But they knew. They had the vision. They had they saw that. And to me, that's still them being incredibly, like, they have the it factor almost to the nth degree, because it's so much so that y'all don't even understand it yet.
It's the intuition.
And they still have the science part of it. They have both. And the data, going to the data conversation, man, I think that is, man, we run into that all the time, obviously, in corporate. Like, that is oftentimes you lean, if you can't lean too much in any direction. You can't go too far into the data only, right? Mm-hmm. Or you can't forget about the data entirely, right? So, like, if you're gonna go do something new that's never been done before, and you're making a case for it, you're still validating it
with the data that you currently have.
Yeah, exactly.
Available.
Yo, you gotta have something to validate why what you're saying, what's never been done before, makes sense to get after and do.
Right.
There's still something that.
I mean, what if it's just a feeling and you don't know how to describe it?
Honestly,
that shit don't never work.
You got to be able to describe it.
That shit never gonna work for you.
You got to be able to describe it.
Times I wanted to walk into a meeting and just be like,
you got you do got to be able to describe it to a degree.
But I hear a lot of music that I don't need. It's like, bro, like it's like.
Oh, musically, yeah. Sorry, I'm jumping straight into
musically,
that.
I feel like it makes more sense. But like,
I'm sure you're talking about music.
Yeah.
If we're talking music, yeah, I think some of the coolest.
I was really, honestly, based off all this whole conversation, I was really related to music.
I was looking at like life in
for the most part.
Because to me, this topic it transcends music. It's kind of across all industries, all everything. But if we're just talking music, right? Specifically, when you think about cracking that like untapped space, no one can define it. That's also really where like some of the dopest stuff has come from. And I think in that case, it doesn't matter if you can't define it. The artists themselves probably can.
Well, I think what I was getting at to this whole point was that sometimes that requires not necessarily thinking about the science behind it. Yes. Even though it's kind of like open ended, because there will always be a science to a certain extent to something.
Yeah.
But literally sometimes going off and just freestyling some shit with no thought process, that's the science to it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So there's still some science to a degree.
Exactly. It just depends on how you want to approach shit.
Science might be a little different.
Yes. There's a method to everybody's madness.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Real shit though.
Everybody's math a little differently.
I mean, so on another note, as far as, you and where you at with your music, is this something that you've always done? Because it seems to me, based on what you're saying, that music is part of you, obviously. So I feel like it's never really going to stop. But is it solely for you? Do you do it because it's what you love, or is it like a message that you want to leave behind for the people?
Hip hop is in my DNA, man. Like, I'm through and through. I am hip hop through and through. I define that. You said that earlier too, and I was just like, I feel that because I'm 100% the same. Like, I've made so many decisions in my life based off this culture, because I love it, and it just feeds me. It's like, it's what I've inspired. It's inspired so many of the decisions I make, even how I show up to work. Like, I am hip hop, bro, straight up.
I feel that.
And to answer that question though, I think that I've always, it started with definitely for myself. I even to this day I do it for me, because I love it so much. Like, I can't. There's even times where I'm making stuff, and if people don't fully understand it, I don't care, because I love it and I know it's good. But as an artist who also like, the type of music that resonates with me the most is the type of music that has meaning and has, purpose and a message. And if you listen to my catalog, a lot of what I do is kind of in that vein. So that it's definitely important to me that like people walk away listening to my work and have something,
take something
with them, like leave something. I don't necessarily feel like music, like my favorite music, it's resonated with me because I took something from it, and I want to be able to give people that same feeling. And to be real with you, like, it's therapeutic for me too. So, being able to do it for myself, I'm all like, naturally by doing it for myself, I know there's somebody out there who's gonna find it, feel it, resonate with it. So I never really aim to just do it for other people. It never starts with that, man. It's a feeling that going back to that word feeling, man, it's everything. Like, I gotta feel it, and if I feel it, I know someone else will too.
As it should be, because if your confidence isn't in it, then why would they feel confident in it? So
exactly,
yeah, like, I feel you on that.
I will say though, one thing I will add is, like, as I've progressed as an artist, I think that I've more and more have become more apparent that it's become more apparent that if I want my message or whatever I have to say to reach more ears, I do have to be thoughtful about how I get the music out there, right? Present it. So there are things where I might make a song and I'm like, yo, this is, I used to make songs that were boom bap, only like how I wanted to do it, and I was like, doing it because I thought it was good. And I was like, You either find it or you don't. And now I make more music that's more like, it still has that because that's what I grew up on. That's what I love.
Mm-hmm.
But I started to try to do things and message things and word things and bring in sounds and things that will still sound like me, but will bring new listeners at the same time.
Because you kind of just like literally just threw me a lob to my next question, man. All right, so it's funny, like just through getting to know you over the past couple of years and just like obviously watching some of your creative process take place on my timeline on Instagram. I've noticed you have a talk box.
Oh yeah,
which is something you rarely ever see or hear anymore. Like past
you actually own one?
Past the 80s, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're from Southern California. Probably grew up listening to hella zapping. Probably grew up listening to hella zapping Roger.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. What even made you even think to like cop one of those? Like, because like outside of like old like 80s like music documentaries and stuff,
cool
like I have not seen anybody actually with one of those or even like willing to like kind of like learn how to use one.
Well, honestly, bro, like the talk box goes back to some of the greats, man, back in the day, and I've always loved. I mean, again, my dad's records and things he listened to, like that's what they were doing music with, and that sound is just so iconic. You said Southern Cali, yeah, 100%, some Southern Cali shit. But for me, when I actually decided to buy one and use it, I primarily did it because it's actually kind of funny. I can't sing, right?
Me neither, bro.
And so I was like, there's some stuff I want to sing. How can I do it in another way? And finally was like, well, I love the talk box.
The OG
I love the sound. And I watched some of my friends play it and do it, and they're just like killing that shit. I'm just like, it just looks like fun. So
what's it like?
I
it seems
just
kind of interesting to even you like hold it. Like, what is that feeling like? It seems kind of weird.
It's actually really easy. But it is a weird concept if you've never used it before.
Because how do the notes thing work?
Well, so the talk box, right? You have the tube in your mouth,
right?
And that tube is connected to an amp. That amp is your output. So instead of it coming out of your speakers or headphones, right, it's coming out of the amp. So as long as my keyboard is, the sound is going to the amp, which is connected to the tube, any note I play on my synth, it's coming out of the tube, right? So
Who
then
the fuck came up with this shit?
Actually, I should know that. I don't know.
Like, because that's so crazy.
It is a crazy concept.
Like, who the fuck? Like, why?
I legit put, so I'll put the tube in my mouth, right? And you actually don't say anything. Like, nothing comes out of your mouth.
What?
The keyboard is your voice, right?
Right.
So you don't actually
are manipulating the tone of your voice.
So if I'm, if you do some Zapp and Roger shit, right, and you're singing "Computer Love," you don't say "Computer Love." Vocally, you mouth it. I actually just like this, but I'm playing the note.
Oh, that shit is fucking crazy.
It's some wild
and it's practicing.
But that's some trivia ass shit.
Yeah. You got
for everybody who's wondering, if you're watching, we have an image of a talk box device on the screen. For those listening, obviously you can't see it, but
yeah. But it's so much fun, and actually it isn't easy. Like, once you get the hang of it, it is, but like at first it's a little weird because you're trying to pronounce stuff with this tube in your mouth. You're trying to pronounce things, and the more you can pronounce, the better obviously it's gonna sound, because you're not actually saying anything. Right. So you got to really exaggerate the pronunciation.
Some things got to be hard to say with that in your mouth.
They are, yeah. So you gotta really over rev on the pronunciation.
Shit crazy.
So that you mouth it enough so that people actually can make out the words you're saying. But yeah, you're literally just playing the keys, and that's your voice.
Yeah, I guess my question is, where'd you even get one of those things from?
Right.
What?
Where'd you even find that thing?
Mine, I got it off.
You just ordered off the internet?
Yeah. I just got it off Sweetwater, I think, back in the day. Funny. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Are they expensive?
No. Not really. No, they're definitely affordable. I mean, I haven't looked at the full spectrum, but like the one he pulled up.
Most of them I'm seeing, like nothing seems to go more than like $200. It's like standard for like a piece of audio equipment at this point.
Yeah, but it's fun, man. That's
such an oddity to me as like an instrument.
I know, and most people don't even like know what it is. They'll hear something and be like, "Oh, is that auto-tune or is that like?"
It's like no.
The word auto-tune just get thrown out. This shit gets thrown out.
The OG auto-tune,
bro. That shit to me is one of the most iconic sounds, and I just had to have it. I just I can't sing, but I'm gonna sing with this. And it's a fun, like when we do jam sessions and stuff now. Like for my birthday a couple months ago.
Oh, you pulled it out.
You got any camera footage?
Yeah, I got a lot. Yeah, I got it on my IG. It's on my gram. You can go watch a video right now, of me playing some stuff. But yeah, if you go to my IG and go to the reel, my reels. There's one of me. My wife actually got me a Moog that I had been wanting forever. And
which one of these reels?
Oh yeah, it's loud. Let's go right there.
Yep, here we go. All right, let me start this joint over. But yeah, obviously there's no audio for this, but there's that guy using the talk box. You see his IG handle at the bottom. So for those who don't know, his IG handle is J_Jury. It'll be at the bottom of the screen for y'all. Fire. But yeah.
But man, bro, I'll have you over for sure and show you. It's so much fun, man, and it's like one of those things that just you don't get tired.
Yeah, so you can see I liked it. I was like, yeah. As soon as I saw this, I was like, whoa. I was like, hold up.
Yeah, it's such a vibe. It's one of those things, like, if you see somebody with that, not knowing what the fuck it is, you're gonna go, what the fuck is he doing? Like, what is that? Like, what are you doing? Like,
I know. It's actually one of my favorite things. Like, so back to the like function.
Imagine
like,
playing that at the park randomly.
That would
Mount
be
Tabor,
crazy.
motherfuckers would just be walking up to you like,
yo, well, in Portland, bro, I don't know. It'd be some homeless dude coming up like, yo, can I hit that?
Right,
like, bro,
probably.
This ain't what you think.
At this point.
shit.
But yeah, bro, I love Talkbox, man. Shout out Zapp and Roger, man.
Rest in peace to the OG.
RP.
Man.
No, that is an amazing tool, or not tool, but instrument. Tool too, but an amazing instrument. One of those that are, like I said, an oddity to me. It's like, it doesn't get a lot of praise and credit, because as weird as it is part of a staple sound.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't get the praise that it's supposed to get.
It's underutilized.
Also, like that one fucking instrument that I always forget the name of, bro, that they use in all the Cali shit. It's that fucking
there's
slap box, the slap
so many, bro.
Not the slapstick.
You got like the triangle
is it the vibraphone? Not vibraphone.
That's a bunch of shit, bro.
I know
there's like a few
iconic
key
sounds,
instruments that are like staples to that sound.
The triangle.
It's an auxiliary percussion instrument. I should know what it is. Like,
our percussion is so.
And it's like a.
Yeah, I'm blanking on what it is.
It's the sound that sounds like you're fucking hitting two glass bottles together, kind of sort of like that fucking.
Yeah.
What's the name of that shit? I don't know the name of it. I don't. But this is weird instruments like that though. It's like
triangle.
It sounds like a triangle, but it's not a triangle though.
I don't know what it is.
It's not a triangle though.
But I know what you're talking about. We got a few. There's a few just fucking Cali percussion. Like, if you use it, you automatically have that West Coast sound.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100.
And that's one of them.
Oh, it's the okay. I know exactly what it is. It's a piece of like metal with like a thing that you flick, and then it makes like
Yep.
I don't remember what it's called.
Yep. I forgot what it's called, but that's what it is.
Why am I drawing a blank on this thing? We had one in the band room in high school
this shit,
too. I used to play with that thing all the time.
Everybody knows because they use off the San Andreas.
Yeah.
The fucking GTA San Andreas. Everybody knows that shit.
Yo.
It's gonna bother me now. I should know the name of this instrument.
Game right there, bro.
Everybody knows that
I used to get in trouble so much for playing with that thing.
Man, that shit was hard.
It's because your ass think of Grand Theft Auto.
Man. But
yeah, man. I'm fucking with it, bro. I gotta definitely hear you vibe to that shit, dude.
Yeah. Pull up. We'll tap in.
But go ahead, Aaron.
Go ahead. That's your question.
Well, I mean, the next question, bro, for real, is what's your soundtrack to life right now? Like, what you bopping? What's on your shit?
Yeah, man. What you listening to?
Right now,
obviously outside of yourself.
Yeah, because I do listen to my own shit a lot.
I feel you. I'm with you.
You got to. I mean, who gonna like be a?
You got to get in your zone sometimes and just tune shit out.
Exactly. I think my soundtrack right now. Well, actually, I think there's two. Maybe I'll compartmentalize it into two different answers. What I'm listening to right now is, honestly, I've been listening to like a lot of Smino right now.
Okay.
Just because
Quentin Tarantino.
That song specifically.
What do you say?
Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino.
Quentin Tarantino. That shit funny.
My Life a Movie. Quentin Tarantino, I think is what he says, something like that. But that is actually the reason why I'm listening to it a lot right now is I'm in my mode of I'm working on this new project and I'm trying to make it sound drastically different than my last project. And there's a feeling that comes with what I'm trying to evoke. And there's a couple joints and there's just things that Smino does that I just like love musically.
I like his voice. His voice just sounds super unique.
His voice is so unique.
That's his voice. He got one of those
voices.
He's like a cheat code.
He reminds me. He's in the vein of like a CeeLo.
Yeah,
where it's like his voice is so unique, but
his voice is so
unique and distinct that like as soon as you hear it, you just know it's him.
So I'm listening to a lot of that. I've been listening to a lot of Saba right now, like old shit.
Saba?
Yes, I love Saba. Like,
I thought you said Sampa for a minute.
No, Care for Me is obviously a classic, and I've been listening to the album. Like that to me, anytime
they've been listening. When fucking Marty saying he was listening to them too on the last pod?
No, he said he was listening to Sampa.
No, Saba. I love Saba. Honestly, I think it's unfair how good of a rapper he is. But there's just like when I'm like needing to just move away from my work for a minute and just zone out, maybe just like pour a glass of wine, I just play Care for Me front to back, and that whole album to me, it's just such an easy listen. It's so fucking good, and it's like 5 years old now, but it's still like I keep coming back to it, and that's the thing that I love about the kind of music I like to make. Is like it's stuff I want people to come back to. You know what I mean? I'm not here for the one hit, move on to the next hit, try to find the next hit, try to get the next hit, and hopefully I'm racking up streams and you guys are going and playing my next hit, and you're just always trying to find out like what is gonna have next month. I'm not that kind of artist. I like full bodies of work. I like shit that I could really sit with, and I want to be able to play it back 5 years and have it be, relevant.
So let me just hold on. Let me just.
It needs to be time.
That was something you were talking about earlier, man.
Let me just recollect because like, are you telling me that as an artist you prefer to put out full bodies work versus singles?
100%. I don't really do singles at all, bro.
No, because I've been with this dilemma for a while and hearing it from another artist, and I also asked people on social media, like people that are followers. I'm like, do you guys prefer full bodies of work or do you guys prefer singles? Because they say that in this day and age to release singles, but I feel like all this shit is
let's be real,
bro.
Singles absolutely have their place, 100%. But I make music for me first, right? And I know that there's somebody out there who wants a body of work to digest and like really sit with. I know that's who I make the music for. I don't make the music for the people who are going to just pass through.
Right. That part.
And I'm not really trying to
pass through.
That's the hardest thing too. And this, as an artist in this day and age right now, right? Like people are making songs literally just to pop off on TikTok, right? And shit. And like that shit ain't gonna be around.
Shit.
Yeah,
popcorn
bro.
Shit.
That shit ain't gonna be around by the time it's time for you to make a real album. Nobody cares about you. So you had your one hit and everyone did the dance to it. How do you capitalize on that now? You got to take that opportunity and create a body of work. No one's out here just doing these one hit. Like, there's not a single person doing singles only who is relevant for a long period of time.
Yeah, and it's so funny you said that because I usually didn't even think of
an artist that's like
I was trying to as I was saying that. I was like, I'm going to regret saying this because someone's going to be like, what about this person?
A content creation standpoint where it's like I have friends that have like such short attention spans. I mean, I myself included fall into that category at times, but it's just like at the same time, like
sometimes
I just love good long form content, and I'm the type of person that will actually sit down and listen to some long form content. And I know there's plenty of other people out there in the world that exist that are like that, and it's like I prefer to kind of like
that's it right
like
there.
You said, create content that I know is going to be in existence for the long haul, as opposed to just something that's going to be like something super quick.
What other things
stuff that like I'm just trying to churn out in the moment. To get some views. Like I've never even been one of those like, hey, look at me type of individual. So like,
I got another question.
That shit don't even make sense for me strategically as a person.
Yeah, for sure.
My other question was like, even though you're not necessarily like, super established or anything, based off what we just talked about, what would be your advice to somebody coming up as an artist that, because we're in a day and age where like you get a lot of your information off, the internet, and we've been like, I'm pretty sure you know this too. This information is nothing new, but it's been told that like it's better for up and coming artists that are not heard to release singles to help the algorithm. And how do you feel about that?
That's not wrong.
Like as an artist.
Yeah, that's not wrong. It's not incorrect to move in that fashion. But at the same time, you do have to have a plan. And
if you're going that route, or just in general?
In general, you got to have a plan, because like I said before, no major artist is still if you were only a singles kind of artist, you're not popping. You don't have longevity. Because you don't. Think about all your favorite artists. You got an album.
I'm thinking of OT Genesis. He's never dropped an actual album, right? He's only done singles, right?
Who's talking about him?
But I know, I'm just saying. But every time his records drop, though.
Oh, for sure.
So it's like, why not just continue to like?
And people make money off their singles and shit.
Or just put out songs like that and then make an actual like compilation project of shit like that.
Yep. You're right about that. I'll first say, to each their own, right? Mm-hmm. It depends on what your goal is. What's your plan? But if your goal is to be a well-respected artist who is seen as a GOAT in their craft, you have to have projects. Like people, you know, people don't talk about Michael and just talk about singles. You talk about Thriller. You talk about the album. You talk about the Kendricks. You talk about the album. You don't just talk about the singles, right? So at the end of the day, you totally can do, like, to answer your question, there's nothing wrong with doing singles. I just don't see longevity if you don't have a plan for, like, how do you capitalize on that single? Now you have the attention. What are you going to do with it, right?
And that was going to be kind of my point. I feel like singles, for real, should be used as, like,
it's a marketing
attention grabber, hook to bring people into want to listen to your projects in your world. But at the same time, once they're in that space,
and the best singles,
you got to serve them shit that's gonna keep them around, regardless of whether or not they've only heard that one particular single from
you. It right there. And the thing about singles too is, if it's part of your plan and you got a rollout plan and you hit them with these singles,
then it makes sense.
And then a project comes that those singles are on, right? That's an album rollout. That's just how it works. That's a plan. And it's okay in between albums to keep the interest, to drop a couple gems here and there so people come back to that project you drop, right? Those are good. But if you don't have a plan, then it's just not how I prefer to move. And again, to each their own.
I think me being such a perfectionist where I'm at is that because I've now accumulated a lot of music, I can obviously put out singles. But then I kind of feel like it's like, okay, if I put out all these singles, it's just like, I don't know. I kind of feel what you feeling, but coming from a different place. It's like, I know what bodies of work do. And if you're a confident artist and you know what you make is truly good and it's better as a whole, it might be better. Because, you know, a lot of people release their singles and hope to build attention. That's like, I get it. In theory, it makes sense. You drop some singles, you get people, you reel them in, bro. You know, see if they interested and you bring them in. But coming from from people I've talked to, and just me personally as a music head, even if I don't fucking know you, I'm gonna check out the album and skim through the album.
Yes.
Before I go to the singles, personally,
I want to hear it front to back, and I'm a listen. We all like to listen to shit front to back. We know there are people out there who also want to hear it front to back, so I'm gonna make this shit for them. But those singles, man, like you said, if I do believe that the body of work is more important than the single.
I kind of agree, but they coexist, and it's all based on how you want to use it.
It's all based on how you want to use it, man. But I know folks, and this is like independent folks. This is for y'all, man. Like if you're doing is making singles, it's one thing if you're an OT Genesis and you blow up off the singles, right? But
his situation is a little different.
It's different. I know folks who only make singles and no one remembers them. No one remember if you're dropping a single every so often, right? And by the end of the year, you have all these singles. I mean, no one remembers them. It's a lot of now. If you package it up, I think it's okay to present them as singles again as you get ready to provide this package that they're on.
That's crazy because what I was gonna. Go ahead, my bad.
Well, no, you're good. You're good. I just think that a lot of it's people forget about the last one. You know, and if you're just constantly chasing for the TikTok or that one thing that catches on, it's like, to me, it's just not. It's not
sustainable.
It's not sustainable. The other thing I'll say is, on that note, people move too fast onto the next thing as an artist. And that would be my next word of advice is if you really believe in something, push that shit. Like, don't move on. If you have a song that you did or an album that you did, what is the rush to put something else out immediately after? Right? There are people, especially if you haven't even like built a following yet or you're working on building a following, yo, push the shit that you believe in if you know it's good. Because there's a whole world who hasn't heard it yet. So it's new to everybody. It's not new to you. It's not new to your homies, but it's new to a lot of fucking people.
And that's a lot. Yeah, and it's
you know what I mean? So that's why I haven't put an album out since 21, because my album has so much depth. In my opinion, it's timeless. It's something you come back to. And if I put you on it today, it's gonna be new for you, and you'll be like, "Oh my god, this is crazy."
And that was gonna be one of the points I was gonna kind of make up the conversation. Kind of went a little further on like the whole singles versus like pushing out actual bodies of work. I was like, I feel like at certain points, I feel like it's also kind of like how you're introduced to the artist. Because like sometimes I'm with somebody that's like a super head, and I'm like, oh, all right, bet. Like they put me onto this track that was like an album cut, wasn't even a single, and I started rocking with this artist based off this album cut. But like there's certain times where it's like, all right, the singles have been getting me. Now I'm like super invested in these singles. Like I'm interested to hear what the actual albums like are there any like single quality cuts off this album that weren't singles that just happen to be in the vein of like an album cut?
I love
you know.
I think I'm going backwards on my.
And I feel like a lot of artists should kind of like not say a lot of artists, but I mean if I were an artist making musical projects, I would try and make sure that every single one of my album cuts feels like it could have been a single.
100%. I
was on school. It was crazy
I believe in that so much.
What I'm planning on doing for my project, I sat on it for a long time, and I'm like, I'm gonna put out a full length project, and I'm literally just gonna break all the songs up into singles. So I'm gonna release a full project, and you can hear those same exact songs into singles if you want.
Fire.
So that because it's just like, bro, there's no rules to this shit.
No, there isn't. And also, what you're doing is exactly what we were saying earlier, right? Like that. It's part of a bigger body of work. So there is a plan, and it makes sense. They don't just exist just to exist.
True, but I ain't really thinking about it in that level that deep. But I was thinking, well, I was thinking a little deep, but not in it. I was overthinking it really because it was just like, it's like I said, if you go off trying to please an algorithm or this and that, it's like you can't. Sometimes you really can't think about that shit. You sometimes do have to go off your feeling, and it's like I know my music's good. Obviously, yes, you gotta market it and push it, but again, it's like all based off what you know, and it's like I feel like my shit is timeless, just like you said, it's classic. You want people to appreciate a body of work as a whole, especially if you put work into it, knowing that it'll be muchly appreciated and more. It'll be more digested. I don't know what's the word. You'll be able to digest it better and appreciate it more. As a whole versus singles. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, back in the day, or at least, I don't know if it's the same formula, but you would release some singles that was built around the vibe of where you were going with your direction of your new project. Yeah. And a lot of times it would be a few singles, and then when an album comes out, the album reflects those singles, or the singles reflect that album. Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
That's my favorite formula.
That's my favorite formula too, and I feel like it's not really like that anymore because people are just putting out singles, and then when they put out a full project, they just put all the singles together on the project, but it's not really. It's not really
we call that. You know we call that shit,
and none
bro.
of it has any continuity.
You know we call that shit. Y'all are fucking playlist makers. You're not album makers.
That part.
You made a playlist, and to me, I fucking hate playlist albums. Like I have
all the singles you heard, and it's like the first 5 or 6 is like all the singles. It's like, oh damn.
I mean, again, to each their own. I'm just speaking my piece. But I have a lot of friends in the industry, and even them, like I'm just like, bro, this is a playlist, dog. Like, this is not an album to me. To me, an album has continuity. There's a red thread. There's a red thread in it.
What's the through line?
So this brings me to my next question. Then, when you make a project, I feel like this is obvious based off all the conversation we've been having. But when you make a project, how meticulous and deep do you think about the arrangement and the track listing? Like,
man, this is one of my favorite. I'm glad you asked this. Sequencing, I think, track sequencing is a lost art form.
It is.
Which is why we have so many playlist albums. The sequencing of an album to me is just as important as the songs themselves.
Mm-hmm. It's which is just as a body of work is more appreciated.
Exactly. So like I think of that to the fullest, man, and I probably overthink it. I overanalyze a lot of stuff, and because I'm a perfectionist. I think anybody who really loves their craft feels that way. But the sequencing, man, is so important because you're taking your listener on a journey, whatever it is you're trying to, the world you're building, the story you're telling, right? It would be like having a chapter book and fucking mixing the chapters up. Like,
right?
Why? You know what I'm saying? How crazy does that sound? When you think of that,
sounds absolutely.
You go from
ridiculous.
chapter 1 to chapter 6 to chapter 3, and they're like, "What? So why the fuck did they write it this way?" That's how I think when I listen to an album that's a playlist album. They don't make sense, and I just don't. I can't listen that way. So when I'm creating, I'm thinking of the arrangement 100%. Or rather the sequencing, because it's the only way it makes sense to me in my mind.
And I feel you, and I agree. Because it's like,
I mean, it makes sense though. It's like kind of like playing, like if you look at it, I mean, I try and equate everything to video games. I don't know why I do this shit, but it's like playing through the Super Mario World map. Like, this is, I don't know, it's this, let's say this part of this, let's say the first 4 chapters, I was about to say chapters, first 4 tracks are like World 1, right? Next 2 tracks, World 2. Well, next 3 tracks. Next 4 tracks, World 3. So you got 4 worlds in total. So let's say it's like 12 tracks. Let's break it up evenly. But I don't know, I think of it that way, where it's like you're going on a journey with the artist. Like, it should feel like you're going on a journey.
Absolutely.
Do you think the algorithm can be challenged if people start taking the approach in their own hands instead of trying to follow the algorithm? Just because I think a lot of people fear that if they don't follow the algorithm, they limit their chances. And I think people forget that technology, like bro, there was a whole world out here before any of this. In the 90s, you had to do guerrilla marketing and get out there and get it. The people is what is the connection. It's not the fucking phones. So it's funny to me how, like, you know, we chase an algorithm. I know a lot of people are investing in technology.
No, not even that. It's just like sometimes I feel like people's phones are literally an extension of them. Like sometimes people's phones know them.
Because people are investing into the
technology. I'm saying though, sometimes people's phones literally know them better than they know themselves.
Well, the phone thinks that they know the person better than they know themselves.
All right, man. I'm telling you, somebody's literally on their phone from sun up to sundown. That phone literally has all the information it needs to know about that person, to put whatever they need to put in front of that person and get whatever desired result they want.
That's facts.
I do, another thing before I let you, I do believe though that, you know, if more people thought like us and challenged instead of trying to be like, yo, I want to follow the algorithm because I'm trying to get, like, fuck that shit, because at the end of the day, there are people out here that are always going to be here regardless of that system, and that's all that matters. You just need to reach these people.
Exactly. I'll say it. I'll look at it this way. To a degree, you do have to, if you're trying to run a business, right? You do have to somewhat understand the algorithm. You don't have to do exactly whatever people say is the trend or this and that. You do got to understand it from a business standpoint. But from a creative standpoint, right? And sometimes those might be one thing. They might not be. Maybe you do this as a hobby. Maybe you just do this for fun. There is a level of fuck it you have to, like, the algorithm is you can't predict it, so it doesn't make sense all the time. But the people who, if you're fucking good, if you are amazing, people will find you. But you have to be consistent. And that's my biggest challenge. It's hard to be consistent. I'm just so busy with other things. And
it's hard to be
I have so many excuses. I think we all, as independent artists who are also 5, 6, 7 other things.
My limitation is more financial than anything.
I resonate with that too. Consistency is everything. Like, if you are consistent, you create the algorithm, bro. If you are pumping out content nonstop and the shit is gold, people are gonna find you and share it for you.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying, is the more people who kind of just play their own game, it's gonna force the algorithm to play in their favor eventually. I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, the algorithm, to an extent, is based off the people.
It is based off the people, and it's also based off your, like, you start to build your fan base and your community, and when you start doing that and really being consistent in that energy
The algorithm
that's coming back
rewards
to you,
It's gonna
then it's just like the community's like the
it rewards you. It's
the
literally gonna start
community's
putting
rewarding you.
It's
Yeah,
gonna literally start putting your content in the same time in timelines of people who are similar,
yeah.
or have exhibited similar behaviors as the people that are engaging with your content naturally or organically.
I look at it like this, man. We did that show last year,
Mm-hmm.
sold out, couldn't get in the door. I didn't make one TikTok for that shit. I didn't this was straight. It was word of mouth. Shared it with our community in the right ways, consistent sharing with the community in the right ways. And it's all about knowing who it is you're trying to tap in with.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it's the consistency part. You are the algorithm.
That's facts. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. But I also say that I have to a large but here, because we also run a small business. My wife does, and the algorithm does make it difficult for businesses, for sure. If you're trying to,
It definitely does.
if you're trying to monetize and grow your business or your platform or whatever, like, you do have to be aware of the trends and stuff. So I do think that there's levels to it, for sure. But as an artist, man, if you're an artist and you're making music specifically, and you're only following and you're worried about the algorithm, you're holding yourself back.
Facts.
Yeah, because I remember, it's
agree with
crazy.
you,
I remember
man.
just even working in the social media space, and like when I guess I use IG as a prime example of this, but when they changed the algorithm to like no longer be chronological, to just like based on the stuff you engage with, it fucked a lot of shit up. I would say that.
Yeah, bro. I'm like,
So I totally understand from a business owner standpoint, where it's like, dang, like we've established this clear pattern of stuff that works for us based on what's in place.
yeah. But here's the other thing, man.
And now that's like non-existent anymore.
The cool thing about, once you do find your fan base or your community or your support system, and you start to build that following or whatever, there is a point where it doesn't fucking matter. You have the people who need to see you, they share it with their people, and then that spider web just, starts to go. So it's just it's getting to that level where that spider web can really snowball into what we know it can. Think about the biggest artists in the world now. These dudes post whatever they want now. They ain't worry about the algorithm. Obviously they made it. They're up there already.
Right.
But they already have that. Like, 'cause what's the rule that they say? It's like, what if you have like a consistent like 500 fans or something like that, or is it 5,000?
What you mean?
Like from an artist standpoint, like artist listener standpoint, if you got like consistent 5,000 people that are tuning into.
I don't know.
They say you only need like 50 to 100 people to really.
Okay, maybe that's the number then. I was like, no, it starts.
They say you only need like 50
5.
to 100 consistent, like diehard, like people to really make something shake.
Think about this. If you got 50 people that love your music, and you're going to put a project out, and you decide to not put it on streaming platforms first, and you put it on Bandcamp or some on your site or whatever, and you charge $15, you probably have, let's just make it easy. You charge $10 for the album, and these 50 people are going to come straight to you and buy it. That's a profit margin you would not have if you weren't thinking about just those 50 people and you were worried about all these other people that aren't,
right?
You know what I mean?
Right.
Invested in you. You don't need 50,000.
It's a quick 750 off of 50 people.
That's exactly, bro.
You don't want to bite off more than you can handle anyway.
You don't need 50,000 people to validate that you have support, bro. If you got I'm happy with the 5 people that hit me up directly to tell me how much the album meant to them.
Bro, I be telling him, out of all this shit, since I've like been on a music journey, the thing that like gets me the most lit out of everything is the fact that people Shazam my shit.
Yes.
I get one. Out of everything, I'm like, yo, somebody around the world just Shazam me. Like, that means the most to me.
Because like because I just even think of the conversation we've had about where your fan base even exists, and you were telling me like you've been getting a lot of traction in Australia, right?
Yep.
Yeah, like,
and that was just off running. That was off Shazams and running ads on Instagram. So 2 different places Australia been fucking with me. So it's just like, damn, you know what I'm saying? But it's just cool because it's like I said, the Shazam thing is just like the little things as an artist, and you appreciate it. You know?
Oh yeah, 100%. We all want that 50,000, 100,000, 500, million. Like everybody, of course. want that. Well, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if I ever want to be.
Well, you know, they was just talking about that whole thing recently where they were saying on Spotify, there was like, I don't know, have the number. It was like a shitload of songs don't even get played.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of songs get uploaded a day, like daily, and like a lot of them are still at 0 plays,
Bro.
which made me think it was like.
But how is it 0 plays the person that uploads? Technically, does it just like default not?
Nah, but you gotta think about it though, because they was talking about this on the Joe Budden podcast. There's a lot of variables that go along with this shit. There's billions of people on Earth. There's probably music being uploaded every second. We could probably say, right?
Yeah.
Music being uploaded every second. Not everybody is doing this shit for fame, money.
We literally just
so
had this
all this shit
conversation.
may not even get a play because some people may not even care. Some people put music out and don't even put the effort into trying to push it.
Bro,
so you gotta count a lot of variables.
I know people. I have a very good friend who just makes music because he loves it. He puts it out. I forced him to put it out because I'm like, bro, you spend so much time on this. It's good. You should put it out. Mm-hmm. But he just makes music because he just loves making music. It's all he does. His studio at home is fucking insane. It's the most dopest like home studio setup ever because he's a nerd. He's a gearhead. So he's the guy who hits me like randomly. I'm like, yo, did you see that new shit that Native Instruments came out with? I'm like, oh yeah, okay. I saw that. I just got a like Sweetwater like notification or something, or I saw it pop up. He's like, "Oh yeah, I got it." Then the next week he hit me. He's like, "Yo, did you see the new thing from like Teenage Engineer?" And I'm like, "Yeah, bro, that shit looks crazy." He's like, I got it. Like he's the dude. He loves music,
He's in
bro.
Portland?
Yeah, he loves music, but
That's
he doesn't push it. He doesn't care. He literally just makes it because he loves it, and I love that. Like for him, I think it's really cool.
Well, I was just saying all that to say that, like, with all those people that are uploading, there's a chance that music don't get played.
Exactly.
So with that being said, if your shit is getting played, regardless of if it's 2 to 3 people, there's billions of people that are uploading music, and some of it's has no plays.
Yeah.
So if somebody is at least playing that shit once, be happy. Even if it's you telling somebody down the street, hey, yo, I just put a song out, can you play it? Somebody played it.
Yeah, bro.
It could have no plays.
100.
Yeah.
So I mean,
that's
shit.
A fun topic.
You said what?
I said that's a fun topic.
Man, I could go down a rabbit hole with this music shit all day, man. It's just one of those things.
Hey, yo, do you ever watch the? I don't know how much like engineering and.
I'm not too crazy. I only dabble when I need to try to learn something.
Okay. There's a podcast that I've been really into.
I think it's probably the same one that I kind of know. It's the black dude. They always talking about fucking. They like nerd out over programs and shit and DAWs and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they be going in.
Devon Terrell's
group. Yeah. Yo, he be dropping gems though.
Well, so Devon, man, I've been it's called My Audio Nerds.
Okay.
Everybody, if you're a musician, producer, engineer, watch My Audio Nerds podcast. It's just so they just drop game. It's funny as fuck too, but they like drop game on gear and like plugins and all sorts of things that you just like learn a lot from it, but also it's just fun to listen to. I think you like it.
What's it called again?
My Audio Nerds.
My Audio Nerds.
Yeah, and Devon Terrell was so it's funny. I used to listen to him just as an artist. I came across like the YouTube stuff he was doing. He did a lot of covers, and he then came to Portland and did like a show here, which was really dope. But he started. I mean, he's an engineer, like a true nerd, knows his shit. Went to maybe Full Sail or something equivalent where just like knows music production and engineering. From mixing and mastering, he's just like a really, really good, knowledgeable dude. But he talked like he's like one of us, bro. Like he communicates it in such a digestible way. So anyways, I learned a lot of game, and as a producer, whether it's like your DAW or your plugins or whatever you're doing, highly recommend like tapping in.
But I do definitely peep Devon. What's crazy is this shit kept popping up on my feed. It was one of those things where it's like, if you're a producer engineer, you naturally is gonna stop. It's just because like I'll be scrolling, I'm like, all right, let me see what they're talking about. Because they're talking about shit that's related to my lane. You're gonna want to hear what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And every time they were always chiming in on shit that you could appreciate. Because they're always going back and forth.
Bro, it's
I'm
so
an FL
nerdy,
user.
bro. They'll literally compare FL Studio to NBA players.
And then I go in the
like,
comments and shit. I'm like,
they'll be like, yo, Ableton is like the Steph Curry and Pro Tools.
Yeah,
yo, that's like the LeBron, but FL Studio,
dog.
yo, you kind of like Draymond Green, bro. Like they
gotta put some respect on FL Studios, bro.
Why did they disrespect Draymond and FL Studios like that?
FL Studios has been producing some of the biggest hits lately in the past like 10, 15 years. Like.
It is true.
But there is levels to this shit, bro. Because like I said, I got Ableton, and I literally got Ableton strictly because I want to get more into like the drum machines and drum pads and shit, and it's more organic using like I feel like it's just Ableton is easier with that type of vibe versus FL.
I no shade. I will never go back to FL. I understand why people love it.
You use Logic and Pro Tools?
I don't use Pro Tools.
People say it's fucking complicated. I'm like, this shit's not complicated.
Ableton is what I'm using now. I was using Logic before. I think Logic, honestly, is like, it has become an industry standard, and it is so easy and intuitive and can hang with the best of them. And I honestly think it's your guaranteed sure shot, like anybody who makes music, regardless of what software, I guarantee Logic would be your second one that you would fall in love with.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm in Ableton right now, and I think it's just easier for my workflow, man. Because like, I did my last album in Logic, and I loved it, but my workflow I think is better now. Like I can move quicker in what I'm trying to create with Ableton, with my combination of my, my MK3, my machine, and like my synths, and I have complete control like the keyboard. I don't know. I just feel like I can sample, I can record live, get vocals recorded. I can just do everything just more swiftly, I think, in Ableton, and program it and arrange it smoother than I did in Logic. So that's the reason I'm there. But I love Logic. Honestly, I would go back to it in a heartbeat.
Logic is supposed to be like essentially the more advanced or professional version of like GarageBand, right?
Well, Logic is what they is like the standard for a lot of recording. I know
Logic has become an industry standard. Like there are schools that are teaching like,
Logic
that
courses,
used to maybe use Pro Tools or using Logic now. Isn't that crazy?
Oh no, but I think I got mixed up. Pro Tools was the one that everybody uses for
Pro Tools is the industry standard for sure.
Yeah,
that's like if you go to any,
I was getting mixed up.
You go to any major recording studio, they're likely using Pro Tools. But for me,
I actually don't like none of those shits. They all look bland.
Bro, producing in Pro Tools to me just ain't it. I can't.
It just don't look. It's not. Does
it look boring?
All of them look boring, but it don't look that shit.
Hell no, all of them don't look boring, bro. I open up Ableton, I'm like, world's my oyster, baby. Let's get it,
dude. Ableton is, bro. Ableton, all of them none of them look fun, bro.
What? They all look fun as fuck to me.
They all look very.
I mean, I'm just a nerd, bro.
I can't say that FL Studios is a little junky. It's a little,
but it works. I just don't like it. I just don't like it, bro.
I guess my question is like, okay, so obviously we're talking about like song structure and like time signature and stuff like that earlier, right? Like, I don't know. Whenever I look in those programs, I literally just see grids, right?
I mean, it is.
And I'm like,
it is.
How do you change, like, for example, do I want to, like, how do I change this grid to be 3/4, like 3 or like 4/4? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is it possible to do that, or do you just have to,
yeah, bro, you could do all that for sure. You can change the way it looks, the way it's formatted in most DAWs, customize it to how the view you want it to be. But at the end of the day, if you know how to use one, you can figure them all out.
Facts.
Okay.
That they are all functionally the same. It's just knowing where things are and like how, like for example, if you want to record something and then, add your whatever plugins to the recording that you have, mix that, and then you want to, I don't know, add some like auxiliary tracks to then start doing some, maybe compression through an auxiliary channel. You don't want to put it directly on the track. Put it on an auxiliary channel and slightly add compression to that. That theory, you can do it in all of them. If you know that theory, you can do it in any one of them. Obviously, hitting like recording and like the basics, those are all pretty. Most people could do that, but it's really getting into the production and the engineering. They're all capable. It's just preference, man. It comes down to preference.
How long you been producing again?
Bro, since Since that crack Fruity Loops, man.
How many years?
2000.
I've been 15
Let's
years
count
deep.
this. Let's count this. This was 2006. So we're
So,
in 20,
yeah,
now,
about
like
2 years
17
earlier.
years now.
Yeah, dang.
Fuck, I've been doing this 17 years, bro.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
man.
so when I see a lot of younger guys that are getting into it and trying to figure this thing out, and it's been really fun having all of this knowledge and experience to be able to chop game with people who are trying to get into it. I have a young dude. His name's Elliot. Shout out Elliot. He
Shout out to Elliot.
Yeah, he's just this younger dude who came. His dad actually texted me.
Okay.
He was like, "Yo, my son, he's interested in production. He's really good, and he's been making beats, but he doesn't know like the next step. He doesn't know what he should be doing. He wants to do this professionally. We got put onto your music by couple folks that he dropped their names. I'm like, oh, that's dope. Really cool that they shared, sent them to me. And obviously they look at me as someone who knows what they're doing, which, when we're doing this thing, I mean, I like to say I feel like I know what I'm doing. I have friends who are like, damn, this sounds professional. I'm like, motherfucker, we are professionals, bro. We really, like, we make money off this. We do this at the highest level. I mean, what else? I mean, that is professional, right? I always joke with them like that. But anyways, it was dope that they sent the kid over to the dad to me. So I'm like, bro, come through to the studio. I'm happy to have a conversation. And so we brought him over. We talked, showed me some of his beats. I gave him some feedback, but also just more. We spent less time on the music itself and just more on music, the journey, and the mindset you need to have, and really just falling in love with this shit. And then I gave him some technical things too, and some like game around gear and things like that I use that I think he should check out or whatever. That was fun too. But anyways, we probably talked for like two hours or so, and it was funny because the dad and the mom came, so it was like a little family like gathering in the studio, just like, and they sat in the back with glasses of wine, and the kid was up front with me, and we were just like vibing out. He was in high school. I can't remember off top, but I don't know. High school for sure.
That's dope.
Yeah, for between those ages, and I think it was almost done with high school. But definitely younger, and it was dope, man. He's recently been dropping music, and he now has after our conversation, his dad actually hit me last week. Yeah, last week. I think I shared it on my story, actually. He texted me. He was like, yo, I just want to say thank you so much for spending time with Elliot, man. He's been going crazy. He just engineered his first full project with this artist, and they did it from the garage, and it sounds amazing, and I'm just like really impressed and really appreciate you taking the time and like putting him on and like coaching him through this stuff. And he really, really wants to do this. And he sent me the project, and I actually followed it. We share music now, like when I see him dropping stuff. Yeah, bro, like we have done this for so long. We have so much to share and so much to put out there. You know what I mean?
And this kind of goes back to the conversation we had even like before the Dope Dealer performances. We were having Dope Dealer shows and stuff like that. We were like, yeah, like bro, we do this professionally for other people that don't really care about and half the shit we got going on. So it's like, why not take the same exact stuff we're doing for them and apply it to the shit we want to do ourselves?
Yeah,
I know. And
I've always kind of had that same mindset. So it's like just to see somebody else that I don't know looks like me in a similar space, like also have that same mindset. I'm like, oh damn, like okay, I'm not crazy, like
right. Yeah. I mean, it's dude, the hours. Think about it. Can you even take a guess at how many hours you put into this craft?
I was literally just talking to my mom today.
Podcasting.
I can't tell you
music.
Or both.
I can't tell you hours, but I can tell you the numbers of where I'm at in notes and rhyme. I mean, in beats, I'm at like 500 to 600 plus rhymes, pages of rhymes, and I'm like close to the thousands in beats. Like I don't know how far, but like that's over accumulation of 15 years.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So I don't know how much time it is, but to be like, I've lost count, bro. I'm like over 500 beats in, so I don't really know where the fuck it's just. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, from a DJ standpoint, I don't even know how many hours I've spent in the past. Like what? I picked up my first controller in the
I mean, bro, we be up till like 3 or 4 in the morning. You be sometimes spinning for 4 to 5 hours straight.
There were some times where like I would get off work and it would be like maybe 8, and I would DJ from just me in my living room, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, by myself. Sometimes 3 in the morning.
Bro, last night we was over here turned up at 2 or 3 in the morning,
I gotta
bro.
go to work in the morning.
Last night we was turned up 2 or 3 in the morning, mixing some shit, vibing, bro.
It's just what we do. Like, I think about it all the time, man. The amount of hours we put, like, you can't tell me I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and you can't discredit the work I put in. Like, you know, we put in the 50,000 hours.
How do you feel about that as an artist? Is it like a surreal feeling, a prideful feeling? Like, how do you feel? Is it like, damn, you look back and it's like, oh shit, like, what's the feeling you get when you reflect on like where you at right now and all the work you put in? Is it one of those things where it's like you just keep it going and you don't really think about it, or do you stop?
No, I think all naturally we all hindsight, right? That's natural. There are definitely times where I'm just like, dang, what? Well, I definitely do.
I do.
I hindsight a
because
lot.
I'm a very like a.
Nah,
he knows though. Like
I'm both. I think in order for me to move forward, I also hindsight. But there have definitely been times where I'm like, man, what if, if I had, maybe kept doing, X, Y, Z or whatever.
And that's why I asked.
I think about stuff like that for sure. But I can't take away from my own. I'm extremely proud of like what I've accomplished musically. I've done some really cool stuff. I've performed for some dope stuff. I've met so many cool people. And I've created work that is going to live on. I mean, it's part of my legacy. It's like what I always say, like, I'm not here to like, I don't want to be known for my 9 to 5 when I'm done.
Hell no.
I want to be known for my 5 to 9. I want people to know what I did outside of that. And people always like, oh, I heard you work at Nike. I'm like, nah, I rap, bro. I'm like, I make music. Right. I don't even like introduce myself as my job, man. But obviously we're in Portland, so like everybody's like,
that used to drive me. They used to drive me crazy when I first moved out here.
Well, I'm not gonna front. Like, when that was the dream job when I was coming up. So like, it was very proud about it. But now it's
but it's like at the same time, it's like I don't, like you were saying earlier. So I don't want my whole identity to be what I do professionally. Like, I'm a person before I was this.
1,000%. I think to each their own. I think a lot of people, that is their identity.
Yeah, it is.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not me, right? It's not. So I would say, like, I'm really proud about the 5 to 9 and what I'm accomplishing, what I'm doing. So I'm always thinking about how much the work that I've done and reflecting on, how far I've come. And knowing, I think the best part is like, fuck, bro, I feel like I still ain't even scratched the surface of what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, yes. I'm making music. There are times when I sit down and I'm listening to a song. I'm just like, yo, this is the greatest shit I've ever made. It feels incredible. The mix is incredible.
I'm gonna ask you some real shit.
And then I'm like completely blown away by the next time I completely top that one. Right? It's just the next thing that we do. If you're constantly trying to get better, and it actually is better, it's just so like, it's a surreal feeling, bro.
Okay. When's the last time you made something that made you cry?
When's the last time I made something that made me cry?
And it could be tears of joy, tears of happiness, anything. Just, but you literally you teared up. You like, oh shit.
Honestly, bro, I was making this like, I was making these beef tacos, and you have to dice up a hella onion to do it. So that was the real answer is that.
Okay. I'm not even mad at that, 'cause I was chopping onions the other day.
Yo, that about just be fucking me up, bro. Let's see. Musically, the last time I made, I think it was my project, Tears of Joy for sure. I remember sitting. I had finished it. I had finally finished the outro, and the outro to the project is super meaningful. It was on some just real life shit that was going on in our life, and I also had a friend help me with some specific parts that I wanted him to play on it. Mm-hmm. And so I had gotten those back and finally got to mix it all. And bro, that track probably had 70 tracks on it that I needed to like mix down. And it's a long song too. But I finally finished it. And I remember listening to I intentionally the next morning, you always do the next morning test, right?
Oh, of course.
I played the whole album before listening to that again, just to feel it, right?
Yeah, I already know.
And I remember after I heard it and it ended, I definitely had tears of joy in my eyes. I was like, I cannot believe this came together. I can't believe it, but it's still a impress yourself kind of feeling where you're like, wow, right? My vision, exactly what I wanted to happen, happened, and it's better than I imagined it would be. So that was definitely the last time I really felt that feeling. It's the best feeling, man.
It is the best feeling.
And actually, that wasn't the last time. That was the first thing that came to mind.
The show.
Show, bro. 100%. When we had that sold out show last year, everyone yelling my lyrics back at us was crazy.
That was my first time ever DJing for an artist too. So just seeing that type of reaction,
those type of feelings,
genuine, authentic reaction from the crowd I was like, oh shit, like
best. And when it was over, and we finally finished at the end, we went for over an hour, and I remember coming, went backstage, did the encore, came back out, did the last song, but after that, everybody was cheering, and like in that moment, I was just like, man, I really do this. We really did that. Like, this shit was actually the most fire show, and no one can tell me different. And I definitely had tears of joy in that moment.
I was gonna say, it was those type of feelings. It's probably one of the most rawest feelings I ever felt in my life, because it's like a music, it captures emotion, right?
Yeah.
But when you tear it up, it's like sometimes, man, things happen and you just can't control it. And that's the reason why I brought this up, because it's a real true feeling that is beyond, to me, explainable. Because sometimes you'll start tearing. Like when it happened to me, bro, I'm only bringing this all up because I don't want to get on a deep tangent, but I've battled with like depression and shit for a while. Who doesn't? You know what I'm saying? And you got to find things that truly make you happy in life. So sometimes you forget what genuinely brings happiness to you. So when I was crying, I didn't realize why I was crying.
Yeah.
Because I was like, you're not mad. You're not. It's like you really, this tears of joy. And that's a feeling that everybody should experience, because that's like love. It's like when somebody hugs you with genuine love. It's like the only other feeling I get to that is when I think about my grandmother. Because I have a close relationship with my grandmother, and when I think about my grandmother, she makes me just, I get mushy inside. You know what I'm saying?
100.
And it's like that feeling was such a beautiful feeling to me that I don't get that enough, and that music gave me that.
Yes.
You know, so that's like, you know, I don't know. It's just if you haven't felt it, man, I want people to feel that shit, because it's a great feeling.
It's a great feeling, yo. It really, really, truly is. It's a feeling that you, when it hits you, right, you want to stay in that feeling for as long as possible, because it feels so good.
Shit, that shit was intense to me. It was emotional.
Yeah, I love it.
I was like, bro, I can't believe that I'm actually emotionally happy. Because normally, I'm the type of person, bro, you can ask me like how I'm doing. The reality of it is I'm maintaining. I'm not going to be like, yo, I'm cool. Like, of course we can say we cool and shit, because a lot of times something may be going good in life in that moment that,
bro,
you know.
I think about that all the time. When people are like, hey, yo, how you doing? I'm going to be like, yo, man, not good. This is what's going on. My, such and such and such. And you hit them with some real shit.
You don't want to be doing.
You're like, oh, you didn't really want to know.
I didn't really want to know how you were doing.
But we all do that, right? We all like, all right, what's up, man? You good? Yeah, I'm good. You good? I'm straight.
But I've also, I don't know, I had a conversation with, I want to say I was talking to my mom about this, like, literally the other day. I was like, yeah, like, I feel like, she was asking me, she was like, yo, how you doing? And I don't know, typically, my generic response to how you doing is, I'm all right. And it's like.
That's like your people asking how was work. It was work.
No, it's not even that. Just like, to me, it's like, yo, like, I mean.
Yeah, facts.
Look, it's like, look, I'm not dead. I'm not in jail.
That's true.
I'm not homeless. I'm all right.
Good.
Like, it could be way worse.
That's so true. Levels to the shit.
Yeah, like. I don't know. And I also just think of just like, I don't know, to your point earlier, it's just like, I mean, about the whole like, how are you doing thing? It's like, yo, like a lot of times I'm like, yo, I'm honestly kind of like, if it's not coming from a genuine space, I almost would rather you not even ask me how I'm doing. I'm honestly rather you just say, hey, and keep it pushing.
Feel that.
You know?
Feel that, bro.
Especially after the last, I don't know, couple, really last year in general, just like, especially some people I had to work with, like, I'm like, yo, this was not.
I know.
Nah.
I know for sure what you're talking about. We've had many combos.
Facts.
Man,
So I'm like, sometimes it's like if it's not coming from an actual genuine place, I'd rather not even entertain the conversation.
yeah.
No, I feel you.
Or let's just say hey and keep it pushing.
100.
Yeah.
100. Damn, bro, this was fire.
No, man, look,
This
we
is fire.
appreciate you pulling
Definitely.
up, man.
Nah,
We're gonna have to. You gotta pull up again. We're gonna have to do a freestyle session. Cause I ain't gonna lie,
Yeah, because it was
my freestyle game has been terrible for the past few years. Sometimes you good and you not. Lately,
Yeah,
it just hasn't
it's
been
all
good for me.
repetition.
But I always keep it going. But it just I ain't been there. It just
Yeah,
ain't there. But I always want to be around motherfuckers.
I'm
So
not
like-
a freestyler either. I mean, I'll do it for fun.
I'm a freestyler, but I ain't been. I'm been off for a while lately.
Yeah,
So-
I do it for fun, but like I got to be in my zone to like actually say some shit that matters. Otherwise, it just be some fun.
I mean, I'm always on that type of tip. Me and him say dumb shit, but when I really do feel like freestyling, I can. But it's been bad for a while.
Bro, I
I
can't
just
rap.
have not been good lately. You know what I'm talking about? No, I'm talking about when we be fucking around just saying stupid
Oh,
shit.
but even still, like I still feel like your shit sounds like you actually rap though. Like me, it just sounds like I'm just trying to like say some shit that rhymes.
I'm just saying we just be saying. I'm just saying that we be
Yeah,
fucking
you
around.
sound like
saying
you
dumb
talking. You sound like you rapping.
Right, exactly. That part.
Word, bro. It's been love.
shit. Oh yes, man. Most
man.
definitely,
Yeah,
dude. It's a
thank-
pleasure
thank
meeting
y'all.
you.
Appreciate you.
I really
Appreciate
enjoyed
it,
the
man.
conversation too.
This was love, man. I can't wait for folks to hear it. This is it, man. These are two. Y'all got to be following this right here, man. We in here.
Yeah,
We'll
bro,
definitely be doing some more
planning to
shit
do
in the
this with
future.
more local artists. So
Yeah.
trying to get some women on here.
Yeah, we're gonna diversify.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? We like female energy too.
that part. It was just International Women's Month or just Women's Month? Women's Month.
Mhm.
International Women's Month.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
constantly thinking about the ladies out there.
100%.
Yo, this background is so weird. When did this come from?
This one?
Yeah, is
On
that
the
an
TV?
update?
You
I don't
should.
know. It's just a
whatever-
screensaver.
You should take this shit and put it here so everybody can see it when you post this. 'Cause this is. I don't know what this is either, but
With this background?
it feels pleasant.
It's just the generic TV background.
It's like for some reason it's
I feel
giving
like
me.
I'm playing Wii or something.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, it feels like a
It does
Nintendo.
give me
vibe. Like,
Nintendo Wii vibes
I
every
don't know
time.
why I'm getting Nintendo. I was exactly what I'm thinking. Like, why I feel like
I mean,
this
that is a
Nintendo shit.
Nintendo controller. That's like
It
that
do
is
look
a
like that.
Nintendo
Yeah.
controller. Like
Yeah.
that's
Nintendo or
Super
Sega.
Nintendo right there.
Nintendo and Sega. Well, Sega's got 3 buttons, so Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a gamer? I know.
I
not
used to
get-
be growing up.
Not to get on a tangent, but I'm just curious.
I used to be growing up. I
Yeah,
still
bro.
got my NES, Super Nintendo, and 64.
Keep
my
that.
PlayStation. I'm never getting
Yeah,
rid
at
of
your
that
parents' crib or your
stuff.
crib?
Here, yeah, I got it
In
here.
Portland?
Mhm.
Yeah, I was just
It's
I
at
got
the
the
house.
PS1, Sega Genesis down there, PS2 down there,
Yeah.
Nintendo Wii is somewhere down there.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't play anymore. I don't have time, but I still love it.
Yeah, it's
You
just
know?
like, I don't know. I just feel like it's something I will never get rid of.
You can't, bro.
Those-
It's part of my journey.
Game systems, yeah, like that helped
That's
shape me as an individual.
You know, I'll be honest, man. I think that helped shape me as an individual, even as a creative. When I think about like world building,
Mm-hmm.
like that's what every game is. You're entering a world. So when I'm making music, like I want the storytelling to be A1 and take you into a world that feels like some of my favorite like getting lost in the shit is the best when you're playing games.
Well, yeah, I guess
Yeah, musically, it feel the same way.
before you slide out of here, though, I mean, you have dropped, let's say, you dropped 3 projects since 2018, right? So you dropped Bloom in 2018,
Mm-hmm.
dropped Work From Home in 2020,
Yep.
and then 2021 you had Dope Dealer.
Yep.
So I guess what's next? What can we expect next from you, creatively, from a music standpoint?
I'm not gonna give it all the way away, but I
Okay.
will say this: I'm working on a project for this summer. So it will be this year, 2023.
Can I get a
some
feature
new
with you?
music. Absolutely, we should rap.
I would love to do something, bro.
Let's do some shit.
All right,
See?
let's
It's the
Let's-
beauty,
let's do some
beauty
shit,
of connecting
bro.
people
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah, 100%. We should make some shit.
I did my first feature ever this year,
words.
so I'm down. I'm
Let's talk.
yes,
Let's talk.
Yes.
I have a project. It's a collab project with a buddy of mine, and we have I have a vision for a specific sound that I'm trying to create. But basically, it's gonna be some summer shit.
Okay.
Like intentionally dropping in the summer because it's gonna be. I can imagine exactly what DJs are gonna play this at, what clubs and bars in town this year. I can't wait. It's gonna be in that. It's gonna put you in that summer mode, 100%. But it's gonna be completely different from anything I've done before, and that was my goal because I got some new gear that I love that I want to incorporate that are gonna unlock some new sounds for me. And honestly, I just want to keep growing, man. I don't want people to hear dope dealer shit again. You know, on my new project, you have that.
Yeah, you want
but I want
the sound to like evolve. And
so
grow as you grow as an artist.
New music coming, 100%. It's gonna be crazy. I'm not gonna give anything away just yet because I gotta leave the folks guessing. But it is crazy. Okay, I will say that I'm excited hard. And when we perform this summer, it's gonna go. We're gonna have a good ass time. Okay. So musically, I have that coming, and then also, I will drop this bit on here. I'm planning a music festival. I told you this. I have a select set of artists that are on the bill, and it's gonna be crazy. I can't fucking wait. I just actually won a grant to help fund the festival. Okay. So I'm really jazzed about that. I'm trying to pay the artists. You don't really get
this grant shit real. I need to get on some grant shits, man.
Bro, it's real, man. Like it's for the community. I'm trying to put it on for the city and put it on for like who I think are the best artists here.
What's the name of the event? You can't really talk about it just yet.
I can't give it away yet.
That's fair.
I'll tell you off the mic. Sure. But when I announce it, it's gonna be in my opinion. I don't think I've seen an event like this in the city. With the type of vibe that it's going to have, it's going to definitely be like our kind of party. So, you know, it's going to be good vibes, man. So, I'll keep it on your radar because obviously my DJ, bro, we got to get it done, man. We're going to hold it down. It's going to be a good-ass time. But, yeah, fun stuff on the way for sure.
I'm with it.
Looking forward to it, man.
Yes, sir.
So I've been asking you about what's next for a minute now. Like, yeah, what's next? What's next? We performing again. What's next?
It's happening, bro. Year is here, man.
Okay.
Year is here.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
Word up. We better head into this jam sesh.
Hit this jam sesh, man. Appreciate you coming through and kicking it with us. I mean,
yes,
you can
sir.
kick it for the jam sesh, but it seems like you got some stuff you got to take care of. So
yeah, I got to get back to the wifey. I'm coming home. I'm going to be there in a minute. I know waiting.
We're sending him back home. He'll be home for dinner.
Yeah, this was fire, bro.
Yeah, man. I mean, for like the whole point of this is just like, give homies a platform to, express themselves and also just talk about stuff they have going on, stuff they want to promote.
Yeah.
Because me and him going to be doing this shit regardless. So it's like, might as well use this while it's here.
Yeah. This is hard.
Appreciate you.
I'm proud of y'all for doing this, man. I know you told me you were going to start pushing, but like, watching it and then seeing you guys come together and do this shit has been like
episode 18
surreal, I know, man. Y'all doing
this
it.
Is episode 18.
Yeah. They're hilarious, yo.
It's episode 18.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And counting.
Let's go. All right, yo.
Man, once again, I appreciate you, dude.
Yeah, man. My boy.
As always, man.
Yeah,
appreciate you coming through.
Crib, bro, I babysitted the hell out of this beer, yo. It's not even done yet.
It's not done yet?
I said babysit too. Look, this, bro, you good.
Got a decent amount left in there, man.
I said babysit earlier too.
Another swig. Not too crazy.
Oh, man. All these right here?
Yeah. It's all good, bro. Put it right there. I see you got the beads on the forces. Let's peep.
Oh yeah, I got the dope on this one. 909.
And the area code.
Yeah,
I feel it. That's fire. All right. Anyway, we about to hop to this jam sesh real quick. The first track was sent over by JxJury, our guest, and it's by the homie Mal London. It's called Mal and Marie.
Ask her what do you want? You say I'm doing too much.
I've heard this song before.
I know what I done. You act like I'm the only one. Ooh, I ain't tryna start shit. Charging what I need like an audit. Go ahead, take it back where we started.
In the process of this jam sesh, if you're tuning in on YouTube, I'm about to show you this little concept I've been trying to pull together just for like some filler content for the podcast. Gotta figure out what I do with the TV remote. It's right here. Gotta wait on this game system to turn back on, you feel me?
I ask her, what do you want? You say I'm doing too much. I know what I done done.
But yeah, that was John. I met his younger brother Pierre first. We call him P. He's known as like the mayor of Outside out here in Portland. Well, one of the mayors of Outside. Yeah, we're gonna have you on the podcast sometime soon, bro. We'll have you on the podcast sometime soon, bro. I already spoke to you about this via text, so I already know you're down. We just gotta line up a time for you to come through. Yeah, it's definitely what people I consider to be like a mover and shaker out here in the Portland space. He's actually trying to create the environment he wants to see, you know? I'm not even mad at it. Especially as a transplant, somebody that's not from here.
His album cover's fire. Oh, his album cover's fire. Jay Worley.
That's dope. What's that called? What they waiting for?
What they hitting for?
Oh, what they hitting for?
Go ahead, take it back where we started. Triple like a beam in between, run the jogging.
That was Mal and Marie. You know, it was Mal London. The next set, the next track is by JxJury, and it's called R. James.
Cocaine, my youngin', that's one hell of a drug. One hell of a drug.
This is one of those tracks that definitely had the crowd going dope and crazy during the show.
Cocaine, my youngin', that's one hell of a drug. One hell of a drug. One hell of a drug. Said that money fame, my youngin', that's one hell of a drug. One hell of a drug. I be on my
Rick James, like,
bitch. Never mind who you thought I was. Watch me while I switch lanes, like, swoosh. Yeah, I can't tell if I'm just tripping. I've been sipping with the team, listening to cream. If it ain't about the dollar, what you mean? You the type with followers but don't know how to lead. If you don't inspire, get the fuck up off my feet. Yeah, I told my mama I grow up to be a scholar. Make a couple of
course, you know the vibe is gonna gradually go up.
Now we tryna buy the bus lot, asking for a handout from me. Now hold up, I think the fuck. Nah, we done come a long way from that 9-0. 9 years later, look, mama, we doing fine. No, they prefer that lean. I prefer that wine. No, I'm staying grounded while spending hours in the sky.
Yeah, it's kind of a long video, but we got a long jam sesh, so it's about to just be running in the background.
Let me check some good.
That's a great question. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9.
Damn.
And we're on track 2. Because we have 3 people.
One hell of a drug. I be on my Rick James, like, bitch.
Yeah, it's the concept.
Who you thought I was? Watch me while I switch lanes, like, I can't tell if I'm just faded. I've been jaded to the real. That's just how it feels. Out my family, I'm just trying to be the first to make a meal, not the first one to get killed. R.I.P. my uncle, damn that shit that hurt me still. No,
Yeah, we
it's been
took a
some
trip
years
to
when the
Wendy's.
streets they only steal from
So we
us.
grabbed my little
Feel
360
punished, don't know
camera,
how we supposed to deal, 'cause
mic'd it up,
heal underneath the cover.
really added an external mic to it, mic'd ourselves up, and took a little quick trip to the east side.
I just want the bread, but
I would play the audio for you guys, but it would conflict with the music.
Trying to trap, please. That's just clout rap. Grew up listening to tip. I know all about that. Pussy
And I don't know, I might re-upload
That's
this.
all you niggas need.
I might not.
Bro, we should, I mean,
And your energy.
you already know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I know, I'm already
about
here.
lifting the team. Most assists in
I might, like I said, I might chop it up and keep certain parts of it.
I'm all about legacy. You know, the money comes and goes. You know, when I get done playing or leave this earth, you know, what is my legacy going to be?
Money come and go when you know that. Clout come and go when you know that. That can get disposed with the Kodak. Or we gotta grow like a go back. That that was for the real. No, I got the bars, catch them all if you feel. I was born and raised hella far from the hills. That was where the love in my heart was instilled. See, we gotta learn to love yourself and love your health and feel the love from someone else. Cause you know material don't buy love. That's why the rich and famous still die young. Everybody had advice just to cope with the insecurities that we only choose to hide from. But sometimes we gotta open your eyes and open the blinds, son. Look to the sky and look at it shine, son. We value the things that don't really matter. Why we do that? Value the things that don't really matter. Don't really matter. Cause that money equal power. Got us feeling like it's powder. And the rent due. Tell the landlord, please give me 24 hours. I promise I'ma pay that. I promise I'ma pay that. I was dreaming about a Maybach, while I'm paying Sally Maybach. Yeah, money equal power. Got us feeling like it's powder. And the rent due. Tell the landlord, please give me 24 hours. I promise I'ma pay that. I promise I'ma pay that. I was dreaming about a Maybach, while I'm paying Sally Maybach.
All right, the next song is also off of the Dope Dealer album. It is also by JxJury, and it is called Same Wave. And it's featuring Uncle Larry. I believe this is his actual uncle.
Yeah. 1, 2, Yeah. Hey, what I tell him? I tell him something like, yeah.
You'll never see me riding on the same wave. You'll never see me riding on the same wave. You'll never see me riding on the same wave.
Currently watching us take a trip across.
I made this beat in about 5 minutes. Watch the way they vibe with it. Oh yeah, we live with it. I can't be denied with it. Boy, don't try, quit it. Boy, man, my shoes too big. You cannot feel it, boy. More boom bap and let's chit chat.
It's actually way cooler as watching on my TV right now. I said that earlier. I'm like, it's actually kind of cool. Remember the show Taxi Cab Confessions?
Yeah.
I don't know why this just kind of reminds me of that. People in the car talking. Right. Who used to be on Taxi Cab Confessions saying some wild stuff? Dang, that's crazy, bro. We need to revisit that show on the next episode.
Nah, we need to revisit Cash Cab.
Oh, that's a good one too. I remember that one. We could do both actually.
Me and Will used to watch that shit.
Taxi Cab Confessions and Cash Cab. Cash Cab had people doing wild stuff in the cab for money. But no, they weren't doing wild stuff. They was answering trivia questions, right?
Answer questions.
Yeah. It was like truth or dare type questions.
No, it was just
Answer questions. That's what I thought. I thought it was a trivia show. Yeah, it was trivia. They would ask some trivia questions. Damn, what network was Taxi Cab Confessions on? Was that MTV? Was that something else?
What MTV?
I feel like it was on the same network. I can't even say the P word. It's got to be corn, like the vegetable. Stupid. Right. What's the name of that TV network that had that on?
You would never see me riding on the same wave.
The late.
I mean, boy, that beat was banging.
They had the Real Sex TV show.
I'm listening to the album right now, man.
So was Taxi Cab Confessions on HBO?
I mean, really, it's really good. It's one of my favorites. I can tell you spent a lot of time with this, and you are a perfectionist, dude.
Oh man, I be talking about how the older homies had me corrupt at a young age,
like
man.
Your dad always was a perfectionist.
I had already seen Corn
even when we was kids. He used to iron
like mid-elementary, not even late elementary, mid-elementary. I also had an older brother who was in middle school at the time, so like, you know, as soon as he got exposed to it, I kind of got exposed to it.
That boy was something else.
I saw Tree for the first time in 5th grade on my way to Boy Scout camp on some wild-ish. I was telling you about that earlier. My cousin was the one that showed me that. I saw Tree in school for the first time. in 7th grade. I told you the homie pulled up with probably like an O. He just had it in his backpack, and he showed it to me after school, and I was like, "Why do you have this on you at school, bro?" I was like, "You are wilding." Yeah. Long story short. Anyway, all right, that was Ransom by Lil Tyler. The next song is called Waves, and it's by Kura and Bourne. I guess this is cool. A little different for the jam sesh. You know, we show y'all around the city a little bit. Probably listen to some music. You know? Everything that we do major, even when we cash out. I'm talking big. You see these clothes and you see our hoes, know what we about. I can't be surprised when the old bitch turn around want me now. Why? Yeah. Blunt smoke, fill out the room for I pass out. Yeah, for real. Everything that we do major, even when we cash out. We gon' cash out. You see these clothes and you see our hoes, know what we about. I can't be surprised when the old bitch turn around want me now. Yeah. Can't go one day without shopping, I love it. Why would I front by my life, that's nothing. Bad bitch match my fly, she stunning. You in the first, but you trash, I'm dubbing. I make waves every time I drop. Like this, so much too fun, we pop. She wasn't faithful, was the type to go hop. Halfway there, still on Burnside right now for those watching.
Regular day. I do this shit after. Hi. Everybody gonna talk up a mouse, got nothing to say. They got nothing to say. Trying to get inside, tell my brother go get the valet. And I ain't gonna trip if you fake, cause it's better to stray. I'ma leave you alone. Yeah. Blunt smoke, fill out the room for I pass out. Yeah. For real. Everything that we do major, even when we cash out.
What time is Snowfall?
Midnight. I forgot about that. Yeah, it's a new episode of Snowfall tonight. Episode 9.
Yeah. Blunt smoke, fill out the room for I pass out.
Yeah, we about to see what Smoke Franklin got for that.
12. It's East Coast, so it shouldn't be on right now.
Oh, it might be out now. Nah. Still, I think it knows where we at. I can check in a little bit.
Everything that we do major, even when we cash out. You see these clothes.
Oh no, I just got a feeling it's not gonna be available yet until midnight.
It's open. It's on right now over there.
Yeah.
Right? 12 o'clock. 3 hours ahead.
But yeah, it's already the next day over there. It's already Thursday over there technically. It's still not technically Thursday here.
Yo, Pierre, you wanna come out here?
This song kind of going though. They got a whole project out?
No.
All right, the next track is by Fraser Trill and Bourne, and it's called Me and My Dog. We're now on the east side town on Burnside. We seen a homie right here on the scooter that looked kind of like Ish. The guy in the front.
How do you make it zoom in like that?
I did that manually. It's also me just learning how to use the editing program for this. I forgot about this song.
It's my favorite track off this project.
Really?
Yeah. Just me and my dog. Yeah. I'ma live it up. Just me and my dog. Yeah. I'ma live it up. Just me and my dog. Nobody really give a damn. Couple times. Going off the page. One time. Hey. 10 times. Fuck my French. I put you on the bench. Yeah. I'ma live it up. Just me and my dogs. Yeah. I'ma live it up. Just me and my dogs. It's fucked up though, cause like the way he transitioned and shit make you want to listen to the next song.
Make you want to say exactly.
Dog.
He said he gonna do it raw.
I don't give a fuck about what you thought.
Watch I lay him down. Treat you like some craps, nigga, crap you out. I got your bitch all on my dick, I dick her down. Nigga say from the hood, but you a clown. How you rockin' Yeezys, but you got $1?
You got $1.
I can't fuck with Saw, that she got too much mouth. Yeah.
I'ma live it up, just me and my dog. Just me and my dogs.
Dang, I do want to hear the next track now.
Hey, I'm gonna shoot. Hey.
All of my track on shooters. I train these niggas like tutors. I put up on you with the ooze. I'm getting money to do it. I fucked your bitch in the coupe. Yeah, you talking shit gon' get shot. I run it up off the top. I got the top on fire. These niggas talk but they lie. I'ma let my bullets fly. All of my niggas gon' ride. I fucked your bitch from the side. She like a young nigga vibe.
Yeah.
I'ma live it up, just me and my dogs.
All right, that was me and my dog. The next song, it's by an artist we played on, I want to say the last one episode, or maybe the episode before, but it's 10K Duncan, and it's called New No Limit.
Oh shit, it's your shit. Hey,
Don't play with him. Don't play with him.
Is there a way you can turn it up?
I mean, I can, but I ain't.
Alright, this shit go though.
SOS, the new no limit. I
feel like Master P.
Keep playing tricks on me. I feel like someone after me. This Glock turned it to a track meet. Look here, I athlete. I hotbox the coupe, I can't see. She said she can't get it. I just keep trying to talk it out.
This shit's weird. Watching me bring it down. It look like you're not holding that.
Right.
And your hair gleaming.
You're right.
By my brother, I go down for this shit. I don't want you around if you don't die about this shit. Bitch, I'm fly about this shit. Can we cool and get thick? Light skin, bitch.
Yeah, I just putting some oil in my hair the day before and just taking a shower. So I had a bunch of water and stuff trapped in my hair. But I noticed that when I was editing the video, I was like, dang, my hair is gleaming all throughout this video.
So glow. You all in the camera.
Bitch, I'm trying to slide, flip across, gauge and play cool till it's the right time. Think I lost my heart, but everybody say I lost my mind. Dirty, broke, bum ass bitch, you just a waste of time.
All right, the next song is called Shameless Suicide, and it's by Suicide Boys and Shakewell.
Welcome to the
It's funny because we were actually talking about Suicide Boys in the drive-thru in this video.
Right.
Welcome to the intro of that Shameless. Welcome to the intro of that Shameless Suicide. Welcome to the intro of that Shameless Suicide. It's welcome to the intro of that Shameless Suicide.
Welcome today looking for a fucking homicide. Magician with the Glock, I make it pop and blow a smile. Relapse off a pill, fucking shameless suicide. Hold up, bitch, shut up quick, fucking with my high. Chain so cold, got my neck on cry therapy. Gang say it's fuck 'em, then it's fuck 'em, they my enemy. Rappers, they delusional, thinking they a friend of me. Made 100 million, saying fuck you to the industry. Let me see, put up on the devil and I broke kill. Let me see, I make millionaires from my coattail. Working on a list of people that commit.
I never heard that ad-lib in the back.
Really?
Nah.
Got me hot now, fuck, don't tell me calm down. Blowing about killer with the Eastern Bloc sign. Flow from downtown, but my house up in the sticks. My chain book a job, but my wrist don't tell. crosses to carry. Scream told me to just be ready. It's got close. Daddy got dementia, still I make it work. Big shit be the capo, got ammo for any battle. Turn the feeling curse. 30th in the month, I cannot map it out. Let's plan the world great. It's the only way we can make it out. 700 horses, I floored it. I'm gonna be gone till the morning. My pinky ring me a mortgage. I know they hate me. Oh well, got this like pints in the storage. Go ahead and ship it, import it. IRS hit me for 40. Got 30 birds in the mail. I heard the mortgage sale. They tryna lock me up. I'ma live forever. My name out and ain't no stopping. Ain't no suicide. The mafia seen better inside the cartel. Cocktail, Molotov starts them and wish that boy will.
Yeah, we gotta shoot a pod right after too. Like one of this rave, we're gonna get to talk about the shit.
I'm with it.
I just thought about the shit.
I really want to take that camera in there, but then she's saying that I'm like, dang, like you tell me. Actually, really, Dan was telling me, he's like, yeah, I don't know if this one's fire. You can even take one in there.
I mean, it's small. I'm surprised you can't put it in your pocket and then just like take it out if you want. You do that pole and all that real discreet. You should be able to take all that in there because that little 360 camera is small.
But depending on how dark it is in there, though, I might need.
If it's dark in this point,
yeah.
But it's probably gonna be dark,
right? There is like this light attachment I can get for it.
But then you don't want that. You don't want that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that would be fire though. Having.
You don't want to be that guy because I've been around motherfuckers with that.
Exactly.
It's annoying.
I don't want to be the guy that's the buzzkill because I got a camera.
Right.
All right, y'all. It's been a real one. We will catch y'all later.
Hold it down.
Hold it down.
Deuces, world.
Peace.